Viva Las Vegas! We have descended on Nevada, USA for the third major of the season. We have got 50 men and 15 women going head to head for the ultimate jackpot, a place at the World Championships in Chicago. The buzz is palpable. But of course, this place also offers a full circle moment after hosting the World Championships here in 2022. Hunter McIntyre, who took that top step, is back in action for the first time this season. But he's going to be up against some stiff competition. Also, local resident Lauren Weeks is going to go back to the place where she raced 7 months pregnant with baby Lily in her belly. There are some more important things at stake as well. It is the first and only time that the Americans can race on home soil, and they'll want to take advantage of that. Who is going to play the winning hand?
What a place, what a venue, and what an exciting night of racing we have coming up for you tonight as our Elite 15 take on the third major of the season. And joining me in studio, I couldn't be more excited to say, I have my partner in crime, Greg Williams from the Rox Life, but the spectacular world champion Megan Jacoby joins us as well. And Meg, and I bet you are gutted not to be out there with the girls. But oh my gosh, are we excited to have you. How is your rehab going?
Definitely having a lot of FOMO. Watching the women warm up, I feel like a bit of my heart is breaking here. However, super excited to be here and getting to participate in a different way. Thank you for asking. Rehab is going great. Back to training, so gearing up for Worlds in June.
That's really exciting. When might we see you back on track?
You will see me just doing a doubles in Cologne and then teaming up with Camilla Massa for the Elite Pro Women's Doubles in Miami.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, Greg, great to have you back as well with all of your analytical insight. This race, it's a big one. It's the first and the last time that the Americans are going to be able to race on home soil. What does that set up?
It sets up that it's a big race for a lot of the people here today. Like, we've seen some of the Americans, some of the big name Americans especially, not travel abroad so well because of the jet lag or whatever reason. So it feels like today is a really big opportunity for them. Not the last opportunity necessarily, but the last on home soil.
And I guess the top story to a certain extent is the fact that we're going to see Hunter McIntyre, the 3-time world champion, back on course for the first time this year. What makes him so special?
He's a 3-time world champion, world record holder. He's a very special athlete. He didn't perform as he would have wanted at the World Championships in Nice. This is his first major race back since then, so it's an important day for him, and he'll be hoping for a big performance, I think.
Meg, you know Hunter personally.
Yes.
What's he actually like as a man?
Hunter has been a phenomenal friend to me in this sport, opened a lot of doors for me, gave me a lot of really sound advice, especially in my early days. I think the athlete Hunter is different from the personal Hunter, but both are very special in their own way, and they both like to go big, so I expect nothing less from him tonight.
Go big, go home.
Yes.
That's win races. He's coming here to qualify for a World Championship spots. But Greg, as are many American females, you've got Vivian Tafuto, and for the first time this season, Amy Balbacqua. What can we expect from them?
They're very good athletes. On their day, they can certainly get one of the qualifying spots. Vivian finished third at the World Championships. Like, she'd finished fourth in a lot of the big races up to that point and finally got onto the podium. She'll be looking to claim her spot. And then Amy, the 7th fastest woman in the world that we've ever seen in Hyrox. So again, on her day, she can be out there.
Meg, you know what it's like to travel to Europe and have to deal with all the factors that come with that. It never seems to affect you that badly. How does it impact the body of the athlete?
Yeah, it really can be a learning lesson. Everybody has to figure out what works for them and what they need to do to travel. It took me a few times to really figure it out, so I'm sure a lot of these ladies are still experimenting with what works well for them. But once they figure it out and get locked in, I think it becomes a less impactful thing. So hopefully that will happen tonight for them.
And a number of men who you also know pretty personally in Ryan Kent and Dylan Scott, Rich Ryan. Again, we've seen them in previous majors, perhaps not fulfill their own potential when they're abroad. So tonight, is this the most important night they're going to have all year?
I definitely think so. It's always easier to race on home soil. You have home court advantage, you have more personal fans, a lot of family and friends come out to support, so it always helps give that extra push. They're all feeling very fit. I've talked to all of them individually, so it's going to be really exciting to see these guys throw down tonight.
We're going to park the men just for a little bit. We'll come to them a little bit later. But because we were in Vegas, we decided to have a little bit of, I don't know, should we call it Vegas fun? A roll of the dice? We're going to find out who takes the jackpot.
We are going to pull the lever. Let's see what you got.
Come on, Rich.
Ooh. Okay. So what do you reckon? Overhead lunges with the book balanced on your head?
With the book. Big enemy of mine.
What, reading?
Reading, do I have to read the book?
You don't have to read the book, you just have to balance. How's your balance?
We will see. For one rep, is it, oh, the book is in my hand or it's on my head?
No, it's on your head.
Okay.
Oh, skills.
Uh-oh.
Oh!
Come on, Richie. Keep it together.
It's on there.
You went a little bit too fast. Boom! Partial to a casino?
Not. Oh yeah. Wall balls by 4 with a beach ball.
With the big one?
Oh, with the big one?
Yeah, with the big ball.
Do you see how? Do you know how heavy that is?
Yeah.
That might be more than 9 kilos. That flattened Jade earlier.
Check his depth.
don't-
Check his depth.
Oh!
I don't feel good about this.
Check his depth.
Oh!
Check his depth.
Oh, Richie, I missed it.
Dylan.
I missed it. Hey, it's gonna be catching this. Is gonna be a problem. Come on, Richie. Oh, sweet Jesus.
Oh, the concentration tongue.
Oh, got it. Ah, there it is. Oh, it's off my back.
No rep.
Who's next, Zara?
Let's go.
All right, pull that handle. What we got? To get the beach ball and farmers carry it to the end, if they get there together as a team, they both get a point.
Easy. Oh, this is easy.
We ready? Yeah, 3, 2, 1. Pull that handle.
Who's this?
Oh, it's the mime. It's the mime.
Who's that? What's a mime?
You gotta fake it.
Oh, okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
So I just run? I told you I wanted
no,
to run.
That one's farmers carry, but you've got to mime it
Without anything?
without
So
anything.
that's running.
That's all in the facials, I believe. What are you doing here, Dylan?
I'm just following along. Zara, does that feel heavy? Does it feel heavy?
So heavy.
It does? I didn't know mom's tall.
Oh,
Oh, she broke.
oh, skill and growth. Bum, ba-ba-dum. Oh, new one, new challenge with the drunk goggles.
With the beer goggles.
Not something that necessarily you're used to, drunk vision.
In my previous life,
I think you know past Richie.
this is a wheelhouse event for me. All right, there are 3 or 4 sleds to choose from.
Left, left, left. Go, there, it's there. No, left, left, left.
Oh boy.
Time has started. Keep going, to here, to here. Oh, we're gonna spin around, we're gonna go back. We're just gonna hit me. What's happening?
There.
He's in, he's in. Lovely, beautiful stuff.
Good effort.
Well done, everybody.
Everybody's a winner.
Well done.
Everybody's a winner.
You won.
I just hope we all have fun.
what can we say? Complete and utter ridiculousness. But what's not ridiculous is all of those athletes are going to be looking to secure a spot at the World Championships. Jade Skillen and Zara Piergiani amongst them on the women's field. Guys, this venue is something special, isn't it? When you look around and you see the new white branding and the size that we've grown to. I mean, Meg, you came to the sport a couple of years ago. Are you taken aback?
Absolutely. I think last season you could start to really feel it building. When we were in Nice at World Championships, it was incredible how many people were there. And the energy that you get from that is just, it's indescribable.
The athletes today are going to be cruising over what we call the grid system. That means that most of the work is going to take place on this area right here. You can see the taped lines. That's for the judging teams to make sure that both the burpees and the lunges are well recorded. The rowing and the ski ergs in a slightly different section, as is, of course, the farmer's carry. It allows for grandstand viewing for those who come to watch, and something that really sets apart the Elite 15s from the rest of the racing that Hyrox offers. Greg, perhaps you can talk us through actually the rest of Hyrox racing, because
Yes.
there are a number of levels.
Yeah, there are a number of levels. I guess the entry level, if you like, is the open division. So that's going to be lighter weights on some of the stations than the athletes will be using today. Athletes can still qualify for the World Championships through the open division, but primarily it's done in the pro division, which is the next level up. That's with slightly heavier weights. That's the weights that the athletes will be using today. The two best times that an athlete achieves in the pro division, take the average of those, can qualify them for these elite race majors. And so we're essentially seeing the 15 fastest athletes in the sport, or 15 of the fastest athletes in the sport, that have got the two fastest times in the pro division.
It's a really cool system. It allows from the community all the way to the best in the world to compete. And of those best in the world, these are the women who are going to be lining up today. And there's a number of super exciting names amongst them. You'll see that little yellow Q. That means they've already qualified. And at the top of that list, we have got Lauren Weeks, and her story coming into Las Vegas, Greg, is something special.
Yeah. 2.5 years ago, she raced here at the World Championships when she was pregnant, 7 months pregnant, and finished 9th on that day. Phenomenal athlete. It's a phenomenal achievement. So to be back here in her hometown as well, she'd be really excited to race today, I think.
And on that list, a number of athletes who will be looking to get their qualification to the World Championships. Over on YouTube, we have made a couple of predictions. So if you are watching, by all means, agree or disagree with us. We want to know from you guys at home exactly who is going to be taking home a qualifier for Chicago tonight. Get voting and we'll release the results a little bit later on. Now, the battle is brewing though, Meg, because you're on the sidelines now. We have a very exciting youngster coming through in Joanna Weeks.
Yes.
No, that's a bad start. It's Joanna Wettering. She's up against Lauren Weeks. We've got 1-for-1 so far in the majors. How excited are you to see that battle?
Oh, it's incredibly fun to watch because it comes down really to the wire in some of these races, and you just never know who's going to do it. Both very, very capable athletes. Lauren, of course, the veteran, and Joanna really making her mark this season. So it will be interesting to see how she traveled. Lauren's kind of got the home court advantage going, so it'll be a fun battle between those two.
Greg, they both like to run. What separates them as athletes?
Well, the interesting part, I think, is when we first saw Joanna Wettering, maybe at the Amsterdam Major, if she was slipping up anywhere, it was on some of the stations. Like, she didn't have the technique that Lauren or other more experienced athletes had. But then she came back at the Hong Kong Major and she'd made like real improvements there, and like her improvements helped her to win that race. It'll be interesting to see how she's progressed even more today, like as she develops even more, because her running is like unbelievably good, and if she can continue to progress on those stations, then yeah, like it's exciting to see.
You, Meg, were in a somewhat similar position to Joanna in that you came into the sport and you accelerated really fast. What's she dealing with right now with all this newfound expectation on her shoulders?
Yeah, it's really incredible to see such a young athlete come in and really handle that pressure exceptionally well. I think it's really hard to nail that first Elite 15 race. I know I made a big mistake in mine. I did an extra lap and It was a whole thing. So to watch Joanna really nail it very well in Amsterdam, placing third, and then winning Hong Kong, it really shows what a true, strong person and athlete she is. Clearly getting a lot of really good guidance in the sport.
It's not just Joanna Wettrick. What's super exciting, and actually, rumor has it, these two are going to be pairing up as a doubles partnership sometime soon.
I heard that.
Is your girl, Lucy Proctor. She's making her debut here in Vegas. She's the latest of a string of athletes to be signed to Red Bull, which is super exciting to the sport. What makes her so special?
Lucy is one of those athletes that she has put in a lot of years already in this sport. This is her third year, coming off of an age group title in Nice, and she's just very motivated, similar to Joanna, handles it very well, has the right mental side, and she's excited. She's really looking forward to this race. She's very, very prepared, and she's ready to throw down. So I'm hoping to see her have a stellar day here, and I think she's very capable of that.
So you obviously work super closely with her. I got a chance to spend about half a day with her yesterday, and I was super impressed. What an incredible woman. But we went down for a little potter on the strip. Let's hear from her and her thoughts on the race coming up right now. Lucy, we're out on the strip of Las Vegas, and this is going to be the debut to the elite level of racing in Hyrox. How crazy is it that you're here and so quickly?
It's awesome. I think it's been a long build-up, and obviously this is what I've been working for a long time, but it's an amazing place for my debut, so yeah, it's awesome to be here.
Talk me through when you decided to commit, because 2 years into the sport, you're only 21. It took, you know, a really impressive amount of willpower to say, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, I think so. I think nearly a year ago now, I quit my job at the age of 20, which was obviously a really, really scary decision, and it left me with a lot of instability. You know, it was the right decision to make, and I really decided to go all in before World Champs in the hope of winning my age group, which I did.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
And I think from there, for me, it was, you know, this is what I want to do. I'm going to push for the elite now, and I could really see a career coming out of it. And yeah, here we are.
We've got a new qualification process this year. It's the average of 2 times.
Yeah.
Talk me through chasing those 2 times, because it was born out of a slightly impulsive decision.
Yeah, I didn't really have a very obvious plan for the season, apart from the final goal being to be in the elite at some point. But yeah, I made quite an impulsive decision to go and race in Dublin at 10 hours notice. I was confident because I know the kind of shape I'm in, and I think it just required a little bit of confidence. But then, yeah, Marseille afterwards, it was the last chance to qualify for this one. You know, I went out there with 1 goal, and I was really happy to achieve it.
All of that with a current world champion in Megan Jacoby by your side as coach. How is she bringing the best out of you?
Meg's amazing, and I'm really grateful that we started working together after World Champs. The conversations that we have, the knowledge that she can share with me has helped my training and also my attitude and my mindset so much. So yeah, I think it's been so key in my journey to get to where I am.
Cannot wait to see you crush it.
Can't wait.
So we did a little bit of math. When I say we, I mean Greg did a little bit of math, and he worked out that Lucy, with her current numbers, lines up most accurately to Lauren Griffith. Can you talk us through the importance of that?
Well, yeah, I think for Lucy, that's encouraging, you know, coming in here as a rookie, but she's matching up to Lauren Griffith, who is one of the 6 athletes who've already claimed their spot at the World Championships. So she's one of the top in the sport. And Lucy's like matching her, really. Lucy's put in a time recently, her 1:01, which she did in Marseille on what seemed to be like quite a tough course, makes her one of the fastest women we've seen in the sport. So on her day, she can really show up. And yeah, to be matching against someone like Lauren, it must be really encouraging for her.
Meg, as her coach, you know, mum proud moments, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But what were your last words of wisdom to her?
Yeah, it's really just about running your race and not getting caught up in the hype and going out too hot. We know that Joanna and Lauren, they like to go out hard, and it's really just playing the long game, making sure that you execute your race so that you have your best performance and not letting the excitement of the Elite 15 pull you too early.
What I find really interesting is the fact that I assume this is all advice you would give yourself. How similarly are you matching what your kind of advice is to her based on the advice that you've received over the years?
Well, I think that's one of the best parts about having a coach that is experienced is we've made the mistakes and now we're able to give better advice to those coming behind us. So I think we're seeing that with Joanna, we're seeing that with Lucy. They're not making some of the mistakes that we made early on. So it's great to see for them.
This women's field, Greg, just offers the most perfect example of the breadth of this sport, that we have an athlete in Lucy who's 21 years old, and at the other end of the spectrum, 30 years older than her, is Amy Balvilacqua. What does that tell you about what's possible?
Yeah, it's amazing. What Amy's achieved to be here is incredible. Like 51 years old. Again, a very similar time to Lucy in terms of a personal best. Is like 101. I think she's the 7th fastest woman we've ever seen in the sport. So yeah, it's incredible what she's achieved. But she absolutely belongs here, you know, and she is really in with the shout of getting a qualifying spot today.
It gives a little bit of hope for all of us, doesn't it, Meg?
Absolutely, absolutely. We can all have a long career, and Amy really, really shows us that.
Now, there's a number of qualification spots up for grabs, and there are a number of girls out there trying to chase them down. Amy Balvilacqua is one of them, but someone who's just narrowly missed out time after time and has had very good finishes is Zara Piergiani.
Yes.
Is today the day? She's got everything in terms of her training dialed, but execution is a whole nother matter.
Yeah, but I think she can do it. She missed out just by one spot in Hong Kong. She's a phenomenal athlete. I think she's in with a real shout today. I think she's got to be one of the favourites to get that qualifying spot after her performance in Hong Kong. I know she's working with a hybrid engine, like with Kate Davies seen huge improvements from Lauren Weeks, obviously. So yeah, she can do it for sure.
That entire group, the hybrid engine group, to have that many girls working so closely together is something like really quite special, but it's also getting the best out of them all as well. And we've seen that over the last 2 majors, where now all but 2 of them have qualified for World Championships. Jade Skillen and Zara Piergiani with an opportunity to do it today.
Yeah, and Vivian Tafuto, I should
Vivian
say as well.
Tafuto,
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of competition between them. There's a lot of competition between the whole field. But yeah, that they seem to have made huge strides lately in that program. So they're all within a shout. Yeah, I would say for sure.
Meg, Vivian Tafuto is someone that you've raced against a hell of a lot. You've been fighting for podiums against her before. What characteristics does she possess?
Vivian is one of the most laid-back racers ever. I love that she can laugh at herself, that she's a very, very serious and very good athlete, coming in 3rd in Nice. Didn't have the best performance in Amsterdam, I think was dealing with a little bit of an injury, so I'm really excited to see her back out on the race course, fully healthy again. She's definitely someone that I think people count out far too often. She is a fighter out there.
And up against 2 Germans who are looking to secure that. Everyone's looking to secure that.
Of course.
Right? But Linda Meyer and Seka Raning, almost different ends of the spectrum. Last year, Linda Meyer, you couldn't not see her on a podium.
Yeah.
But she's had a bit of a bumpier road this time.
Yeah, she has. Probably like the last time we saw her truly perform to her potential, I think, was in Washington in like March last year, where she looked really, really strong that day. And then since then, not been her typical self, and maybe that's been for various reasons, illness, injuries, and so on. But then compared to Seka, who you mentioned, she wasn't in the elite race in the World Championships in Nice, but she got the fastest time of the day, like in the normal pro division of 101. She ran recently in Frankfurt, another 101. So on her day, she's a phenomenal athlete. She didn't perform as I expected, to be honest, in Amsterdam. A solid performance in Hong Kong. So I'm kind of excited to see what she can do today.
And they have this huge, or in fact, Linda has this huge backlog of experience. In terms of experience versus confidence of winning races, like, how do you balance that up? Is it the confidence that gets you over the line, or how much do you rely on the experience that you've built over years of racing?
I think the execution from races is actually what helps build the confidence to then continue to be able to execute. Linda has been doing Hyrox since the very beginning. She's one of the OGs in this elite field, so she certainly has that experience of racing in these big, high-pressure situations. But I do think Seka looks really fit. Like we said, she ran a great time in Frankfurt, so I think she's definitely a contender for one of those spots today.
We've been chatting a lot about qualification, but what about outright winners? And one woman who has to be at the top of that list is, of course, our hometown hero, Lauren Weeks. And the third member of our team, Till Schenk, is with her now.
Lauren Weeks, back in Las Vegas. Last year you were racing with your daughter inside you. 2 years ago, last time in Vegas, right?
Yes.
Yeah, when we had the World Championship. Very different experience, hopefully, this year, but quickly take us through 2022.
So I have family that lives here in Las Vegas. We actually recently just moved back. And when I found out it was there, like, I really wanted to take my spot. So I was super excited to be on the start line then. And I'm even more excited to be on the start line now and having Lily watch me as I go.
And you know, she is training with you. She's with mommy all the time. How excited is she for the race?
So I'm sorry if this is not allowed. I did let her run a little bit on the course to get some energy out before we started. So I'm sure she's very stoked.
Very stoked. How stoked are you? Are you ready? Everybody's obviously talking about you, but the potential duel with Joanna. Where do you see yourself today?
I mean, it's really hard to tell until the sleds are over, honestly, but I'm going to push hard throughout the whole race.
So tell us the truth. Nobody's really listening, right? Strongest Lauren Weeks we've seen yet?
Not yet. That'll come in June.
That'll come in June. There you have it. We're going to watch you closely today. Good luck.
Awesome to hear from the three-time world champion before a big old race. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on the desk. Megan, I can't believe how awesome it is to have your invaluable experience on the live stream. And we get to have more of it because you're heading off into commentary.
Yes, very, very excited. Up front, close and personal with the athletes tonight.
Right. Well, on that note, the walkouts are moments away, and it's going to be one of the biggest majors of the year to date. The women are going to be kicking things off. We're going to be coming back with the men. But for now, let me hand on over to Till Schenk, your commentator, because guess what? The walkouts are about to begin.
Here we are. Welcome, everybody. You've seen those two in the pre-show already, and yeah, well, you just had to walk on. It's an exciting field that we're seeing the race here. They're just getting ready. They're just lining up, and let me tell you, you're looking good, everybody.
Thank you.
What you're seeing here, you know, Max got it already. No, you know you want it. The latest Puma merchandise, Hyrox merchandise, is out, and for the first time, I'm going to bring up my feed. We've got beautiful Hyrox racing shoes in the new design. You get them in the Puma store online, and of course at your next Hyrox event, if you want to look as good as Megan or be as buff as Greg or as fast as both of them. All right, back to the race. Guys, how excited are you?
Really excited. The lineup is incredible today in both the men's and the women's field. There's a huge amount up for grabs, and it really does feel like anyone could get the qualifying spots today.
So I was just chatting to Lauren, and she's like, I don't know where I stand. We'll see how good I'm going to be, and so on. What's your take on that, Megan?
She's a very humble athlete. I think she says this every race, and then very much exceeds that humble answer.
All right, so we'll see for sure. We got about 30 seconds to go until the race. We're seeing Jana Vittrek, right-hand corner on the screen, and then Lauren Weeks. That's the duel I think a lot of folks have been talking about here at this point. But I promise you out there, as we're just waiting for the start here, it is going to be an exciting race. We're seeing rookies with Lucy Proctor. We're going to talk about her even more right in the picture here with the Red Bull bandana. It's going to be a wild race. Welcome to the major here in Las Vegas. Time to send some more athletes to the World Championship in June. Here we go, everybody. The start of the race, heading out on that first 1 kilometer run. So we're in the US here. Meg, that's about a 0.6 mile run, roughly?
Yes.
All right, so Lauren Weeks, as we see, she doesn't know where she stands. And there she goes.
In typical Lauren Weeks fashion.
Yep. One thing worth mentioning is we talked about Lauren and Joanna here, but two other athletes that have already got their qualifying spot are Lauren Griffith and Kate Davey. So them two athletes as well can maybe try out a little something more today. Maybe they'll look to go out harder than they otherwise would. It'll be interesting to see how they approach the race, as well as Joanna or Lauren, who might be just like here to win it, for example.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I mean, like, we've got the same in the women's race. We got the same in the men's race later on. You know, some athletes are qualified already. Like, from an athlete perspective, especially as a U.S. athlete, if you're qualified already, do you just risk a little more today?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the time to test something out because you have nothing to lose. You've already got your qualifying spot. So if you're going to test something different in the race, this would definitely be the time to do it.
All right, no, definitely not different is what we're seeing from Lauren Weeks here right now. She is, again, running off the front here, but then pretty much every single athlete I talked to before the race was talking about, when I asked, what did you work on? My run. So, where are they?
It's actually very surprising to see that Joanna didn't go with Lauren out the gate. Could be a different strategy she's trying out, but yes, I think we're seeing from the women's field, the running is really becoming far more important than the stations. Everybody's putting a lot more eggs in that basket, it seems, in their training.
We're talking about Lauren often going out fast, and that's true, but I think in the recent majors, it seems like she's gone after the ski to a certain extent. She's held back a little bit on that first run and gone after the ski. Looking at this, it doesn't feel like she's doing that today. Like, this gap is like really, really large at the moment. So whether the other ladies are being really conservative or whether she's going out really fast, but she's normally done it from the second run onwards, I think, this season.
Yeah, her ability to run off the ski that fast, as somebody who's raced her several times, is quite impressive, I must say.
Yeah. Be interesting to see the time of this first run, because this looks like it's very, very fast.
Interesting one here is the fan favorite audience poll to win here today. Sarah Pirgiani, Vivian Tafuto, we're seeing there. Maybe not that much of a surprise to see the U.S. athletes at the polls up right now. Pretty much everybody in Germany is sleeping right now. You know, which brings us to the point, we are racing in the U.S. This is the major that we got here, a chance to qualify, and I think something we need to talk about is travel.
Yes, definitely.
There's athletes who travel well. There's athletes who definitely do not travel well at all.
Yeah.
You know it inside out. How is it for you?
I think honestly coming from Europe to the US is a little harder on the travel than going US to Europe. That's just one thing that I found whenever I'm coming home from a European race. I struggle a little bit more to get back on track. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these European athletes do have a little bit of a harder time in this race here today.
Do you use any, is there any tricks you're happy to share what you do for travel? You know, there's so many things out there.
I can't help out everybody.
That is very true. You know, so much stuff out there for travel now. You've got apps that tell you how to shift your time. You've got blue light glasses that you can wear. They're supposed to help you keep the HRV up there. But an interesting one from an athlete's point of view I've read the other day is a study that suggests everybody's favorite topic in like strength and endurance sports now, creatine. Bring creatine up to about 20 to 25 grams is supposed to defeat the feeling of fatigue within like the 4 hours after taking it. It's quite interesting.
I didn't know that. However, I do always travel with creatine, so apparently I've been kind of doing that anyway. So that's a great tip.
Kind of doing the right thing. As we got the women at the ski erg now. Greg, you're the man for the statistic, for the numbers, for everything. I'm not going to ask you specifics, but just looking at the setup there, who do you see? Is there an athlete that has a bit of an advantage?
I think we've seen, I mean, not necessarily on screen at the moment, but Vivian Tafuto is a very good skier here. Lauren's, you know, 158, 156, 159. So these are fairly solid paces they're going at the moment. Like, typically might expect them a couple of seconds slower than this per 500 metres, but further down the field, yeah, I would say Vivian Tafuto is one of the strongest skiers in the field.
So an interesting one here is Lucy Proctor. If you look at the ski erg, we've got the rookies and so on, and it always feels a little bit like the ski erg is one where there's a real difference between an Elite 15 race out there and a major going in there. Is it just my feeling, or is it like that?
No, it definitely is like that.
So you're coaching her.
I am.
What can we expect at the ski erg from her? What's the plan? Where do we want her to be?
So this is not Lucy's best station, certainly not her worst, but not her best. So she knows she needs to be conservative here. A lot of other women also play that game. You can't win on the ski, but you can certainly lose. So making sure that you're staying within that right pace, your heart rate's not getting too jacked, can be very, very important strategy-wise in an Elite 15 race.
But how much air do you, or how much like just leeway do you really have there? Because, you know, if I look at everyday racing, the way I do it, I could go like, hey, I'll just take it easy at the ski erg. I'll go 20 seconds slower. It's going to help me in the long run. But can you really still do that in a major race?
I would say definitely not, unfortunately, just because you can't get too far behind. So you kind of have to find the sweet spot of what is conservative for you, but also where you're still competitive. Because if the field starts to separate too early, especially that front pack, they're just so good at everything, they will just create a gap and it won't be closable.
We're certainly going to see a lot of movement. There is no doubt about it right now. I mean, you know, Lauren Weeks doing her thing right now, but then Jonah Rittrick and then Lauren Griffith behind. They are still fairly close on the ski erg. That's about 40 meters back. And then we're seeing, as you said, Lucy Proctor just losing a little bit of ground there on athletes like Kate Davey and Vivian Tafuto, for example.
What sort of pace would you be skiing here, Megan? Would you?
Right around that 158 to 2 flat, right with Lauren, right with the other Lauren. I think that's what the front runners typically tend to do.
Yeah.
And it's comfortable enough where then we can come off of it feeling pretty good.
Yeah, okay.
And we are seeing Lauren getting about a 50-meter gap on the second girl. So this is her type of move where she makes a little bit of a gap on the ski and then runs off so hard, it's very hard to keep up with her.
Yeah, this is where we see like Lauren about to come out of this ski is where it typically gets very hard, doesn't it? Yeah.
Greg, especially, you know, obviously all the athletes, but especially the Brits, and like, tell me if I'm wrong. If we look at Sarah Perjani, she's always looked fit, but she looks insanely ripped. Is it just my feeling, or are we seeing the potentially fittest Sarah Perjani we've seen so far?
I think so, yeah. I think she's been putting in the hours into the training. I know that she's been working really, really hard, and I think she really is, for a long time felt like today was her biggest opportunity to get the qualification. You know, whether she truly believes she could do that in the earlier races, I'm not sure. I think in her mind she's always been working towards this, and I know she's putting a lot of hours into the training. So yeah, I think it's the fittest we've seen her. Yeah.
You mentioned the mind, and mindset is a huge thing going into a major race. You know, again, Lucy Proctor, we just got to talk about her. She is the rookie in the race here, and she's shown so much promise and potential. But she is the rookie, but you're in a major race. What's the mindset you want to see in your athletes? Is it it's an experience, or do you want them killer instinct from the get-go, believe that you can beat them all?
It's definitely the second. And Lucy, being a rookie, she really has nothing to lose. So, and everything to gain. So going for it, I think, can be really lucrative for somebody like her, because if it works out, then amazing. She might get a spot. And she's certainly a contender to possibly get one of those spots if she's in that midfield pack. So yeah, but coming in and being confident and having that self-belief and not letting the women you're racing or the vibe of this big race make you feel those nerves and that anxiety, it's very important. So something to work on, and that we're all constantly still working on as athletes.
If we're looking at the leaderboard right now, Greg, an interesting one on the German side. So if we look at the last 2 years, 3 years, something, we've basically always talked about Viola Oberländer and Linda Meyer. But right now, fastest German athlete is Zeka Arning, who somehow we don't talk that much about her. But she's been progressing through the ranks. She's shown her running is getting stronger and everything, and she is establishing herself up there. Looking at the 4 Germans, who do you see take the top German spot today? Put me on the spot.
If all of them were having their very, very best day, I think it would be Linda. But my gut feeling is Zeka. Ever since the World Championships in Nice, where she performed really, really well in age group racing on that day, admittedly, but she vastly outperformed any other age group racer that day in the women's field. She ran a 101.
Yeah, and we're just seeing, so let me jump in there in the back, we're just seeing Viola Oberländer pulling out of the race, which is not a surprise. Meg, I'm just quickly going to throw that one to you, just to take us through what that feels like. Viola Oberländer, she has been sick until beginning of the week. The travel was booked. You know, it's easy to say, oh, you should not be doing this. You should not be here, you should not be racing. But from your point of view, is it understandable that she at least tried?
Absolutely. Just as an athlete, sometimes the adrenaline and sometimes the experience can help, and you don't want to miss out on too many opportunities. She had to pull out of the first Amsterdam major. She had a not great showing for her in Hong Kong. So now we're getting down to the wire, and that's a kind of a scary feeling as an athlete. So I totally understand why she would come and just see and just hope that maybe she pulls something off unexpected for her. She has been struggling a little bit this season, unfortunately, as a podium contender almost in Nice in June. So,
but isn't it better every once in a while to just step back? Because I would imagine this can mentally not be good. Another race where you don't perform the way you want to, as we got Lauren Weiss coming into the next station, but at some point this got to get to your head.
Yeah, you hope that it doesn't, and especially with her experience and how many years she's been doing the sport, you hope that she can overcome that mentally. But you never really know, so we'll find out, right?
We will find out for sure. Next major shot for her would be Glasgow.
Yep.
That'll be the next one. But now all eyes on Lauren Weeks, who's gone out hard. That's the way we know. Jonah Whitrick now coming in, as well as Lauren Griffith.
Here comes Lauren Griffith, 1, 2, and 3.
Lauren Griffith, if I was to say, I would say she is right where she needs to be right now. It's kind of like her sweet spot, isn't it? She's just like sitting there, always in contention. She lets, everybody focus on the front runners, but she's got a strong second half.
Yes, she certainly does. And I'm really excited for her this season. I think she's been a phenomenal athlete. She had a couple races last year that didn't really go her way, Worlds being one of them. So it's been really fun to watch her really step her game up and really execute and perform really well in these major races this season.
An amazing effort that we're seeing here from Lucy Proctor, who closed 12 seconds on the run on Linda Meyer and closed about 9 seconds on Zeka Arning. Quick rest there now at the sled push.
These sleds are looking a little bit heavier today from my perspective.
They do, don't they? And so let's talk at sleds. you know, you said the sled looks heavy, but it's not just the sled. Like, we had one of the coaches coming in early, and he's like, I'm just trying to get a look at the carpet, what it looks like. So the carpet plays a huge role as well.
Certainly, and if it's a new carpet or it's a used carpet, the friction changes, the way it moves on the sled changes, and we've seen races in Amsterdam as an example where the sleds were incredibly fast. However, in Nice, they were incredibly hard, so you never really know what you're going to get at this point.
But look at Lucy Proctor. She's now left Linda Meyer behind, pushed through that lane there. Good job.
The top three that came into the sled push here, Lauren, Joanna and Lauren Griffith, they've all got their qualifying spots, but everyone else behind them came in very, very close together. There wasn't much separating them at all. Like, the rest of the field is incredibly close, so it's a real battle at the moment.
And it'll be interesting, like, second stop now in one lane for Lauren Weeks. She's just gone a few meters. And we've seen races before where the sled puts a bit of a dent in the race for Lauren. She has a tendency to recover strong at some point, but often the sled just seems to be a bit of a challenge for her.
And it's funny because it used to be one of her best stations, I think. But I think also when you shift your focus to different areas of the race, she has definitely shifted more focus into running. It does play an impact on other stations. So I think we've seen that a little bit with her as of late, but she seemed to come off of that sled really, really well just now.
And then Jonna Vittrick, good job there, staying close. And Zeka Arning is the next athlete to be done. She's going to head out in third. Linda Meyer struggling right now, the second German. Lauren Griffith lost a little bit of ground. Lucy Proctor done and dusted. She literally went from 14th into 4th.
Yes, and Amy moved up as well.
Amy right behind her. And now Lauren Griffith, Camilla Massa going out as well. Vivian Tafudo, Sarah Pergiani. Ooh, and Linda Meyer losing a lot of ground. She was 28 seconds down after the ski erg, and she is probably gonna be last athlete out off the sled push. That's a bit of a surprise.
I'm also interested to see how Kate does. I know she likes to come from behind a little bit and be a little conservative, but this is a little further back than we've seen her in these other two majors. So it'll be interesting to see if she can move her way up, especially when we get to her favorite station, which is the burpees.
The burpees. Linda Meyer from Germany, second last out of the sled push. That's a little bit, I want to say that's the first surprise of the day here for me.
And now we have Jade Skillen.
All right, here we go. Jonna Vittrick definitely closing that gap a little bit on Lauren Weeks. Zeka Arning pretty much staying exactly where she was coming out of the ski erg as well. Lucy Proctor, the big mover in this second workout station, or that second run plus station. A beautiful scene here right now. A run with Lauren Griffith behind. So Lauren getting close to Lucy now as well. Vivian Tafudo trying to move forward. And there's Kate Davey, mentioned her. She's going to be real strong in the second half of the race here. Looking forward to seeing her at the burpees.
Yeah, and for Seka and Lucy, this is exactly where they want to be if they want to claim two of those three spots. This is exactly where they want to be. So it's nice to see they're seemingly executing so far, and hopefully they can hang on to that throughout the rest of the race.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Seka does on this run, because I mean, it was quite a stark difference watching Lauren Weeks leave the station. Like, she always looked so strong, and then Seka didn't look quite so strong. It was a slower run as she came out. So I wonder how much damage she's done to herself doing such a good sled push.
Yeah, and you see a bit of Lakba coming from behind right now, so she's definitely pulling up. Lucy Proctor hanging in there as well. So they are getting closer, and it's Zeka Arning. She's got an interesting running style. It's like, it looks like she read through those running books and it was like the shoulders got to stay on an even level. It's like just the lower body is running on her end.
And then you have someone like Amy who has so many years of endurance background, and that's not surprising that she makes a lot of her moves on the runs. I know that stations tend to be a little bit harder for her, some of them, so this is not surprising to me at all to see Amy starting to really move up.
Yeah, but really interesting. We really saw it, and like if you even you compare it to Lucy, so that is actually a very, very solid run style. If you look at it, shoulders moving with, elbows nicely angled, good run there. Lauren always looks like a fighter when she runs.
Fighter on the course and off the course. As an athlete.
Yeah. Yeah, running economics so important in this sport. You know, that's the beauty of Hyrox. If you look at it, it's not just strength, it's not just endurance. It's like, I keep athletes, you know, I keep hearing them talk about, oh, it's just a 1 kilometer run. All they should be doing is intervals. But actually, your long runs, they help you for the overall conditioning for that hour that you're out there.
Absolutely. The amount of aerobic base you need for this sport, I think, is something that people tend to overlook when they first start it. If you really look at these elite athletes, they're spending a ton of time in low intensity, a ton of time in aerobic base building, and there's a reason for that. This is a very aerobic sport, so you really need to have that strong foundation.
If we talk long runs, how long are your long runs?
I don't exceed 90 minutes just because of the recoverability. It tends to drop significantly beyond 90 minutes, but I do incorporate a lot of cycling. So if I'm doing a 90-minute run and I want to go longer, I'll hop on the bike.
Are you a feeling or a numbers athlete?
I used to be a feelings athlete. However, the data is becoming significantly more important. When you get to the top and your personal best, every tiny little thing starts to really matter. So once you're at that level, you have to really start taking the data into consideration. Now, this is a station that some of our smaller athletes tend to struggle with a little bit more. It's just a hard station, and I think the leverage of being a little bit of a taller athlete helps on this sled pull. So we're seeing Joanna making some ground here, which is nice to see. Amy as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, Lauren opened up quite a big gap on Joanna on that run there, like because they left the sled push not too far apart. Lauren came in much earlier, but Joanna has certainly clawed back some time on that first length of the sled pull.
Sika Arning still doing real well there. Lauren Griffith, Lucy Proctor, pretty much shoulder to shoulder.
We also have Camilla now coming on for her second pull. Sled pull is a really strong station for her. So it'll be interesting to see if she can move up a few spots on this particular station.
And definitely a tough mental game now for Linda Meyer. See how she does on the second round on that sled pull. One thing I'm really interested in seeing is if we look at the two newbies I want to see in the major races here. Joanna Vittrick, she's been in it for a couple of races now, and then Lucy Proctor is, like, I want to, at some point in a year's time, I want to go and have a side-by-side shot of physical development. It is crazy to look at both of them. It feels like from race to race, they're getting stronger, they're getting more ripped, they're getting more biceps. and it's, you know, it's like, I'm just talking about it like that, but the reality is they're both athletes who still have so much room to develop that some of the other athletes out there should be worried right now.
I totally agree, and I think as they compound more and more time towards the sport, their potential truly is limitless. And you're seeing Joanna, I think in her first showing in Amsterdam, this was a particularly difficult station for her. And we're definitely seeing a lot of improvement here with the way she's performing on this sled pull. Really starting to close the gap more with Lauren. I think Lauren's looking at, like, this is a little bit hard for her right now. So it'll be interesting to see how this next run plays out with both of them.
It's an interesting one for me if we look at it. If you look at the shoes right now, if you look, for example, at Joanna and you look at Lucy, they're both wearing the Puma Hyrox shoe, but they're wearing different models. So Lucy's really gone for the absolute running and race weapon, versus Joanna still got a compound plate, not a carbon plate in the shoe, slightly different shoe choice. How much is it about the shoe? We're talking carbon plates, or compound plates and so on. And how much is it about just comfort in the shoes?
I like the DV83s because I like that stability on the stations. I think the Elites are amazing for running, but I personally, when I've tried them in Hyrox workouts, didn't like the instability that they have. So it is kind of up to the athlete and what they feel during the race. Both have phenomenal grip, so not a problem for the sleds. But yeah, just personal preference, really.
All right, and they are out. Joanna Vittrick is chasing Lauren Weeks again, 24 seconds down after the sled pull. And then we're saying Zeka Anning, Lucy Proctor, Linda Meyer. What a move at the sled pull. She's come from second last, and she was far behind, to now heading out just behind Lauren Griffith, ahead of Zeka Anning, Lucy Proctor. That's a proper move.
And sled pull is definitely a strength of Linda's. As I said, she's a taller athlete. Camilla's also a taller athlete. That tends to help on the sled pull a bit. So I'm not surprised Linda making a move here.
All right, I'm gonna challenge our crew and see if we can get the splits for the sled pull thrown up there, to see at some point, just have a little bit of a comparison there, how fast the times were, how big the difference. Back out onto that run. Sled pull done, so we're about just over a third through the race. Any surprises for you guys so far?
Certainly not a surprise in the top two, I wouldn't say. Like, I think we probably expected Lauren and Joanna to be leading at this point. I mean, it'd be wrong to say that it's a surprise to see Linda coming out in third, but we can't necessarily have banked on that based on her recent performances. So that's encouraging to see for her up there. I think all of them obviously have the potential to get these qualifying spots today, but that, Sika being up there, Linda being up there, that's certainly interesting. It would be wrong to say it's a surprise, though, I think.
And I think coming out of the sled pull like that will also help give Linda some momentum. She's made up a lot of spots, and when you have that momentum in your favor, it really helps in that race.
Oh, penalty for Jana Levenstedt, the way I'm seeing it. She is already last at the sled pull, and now it looks like she's got a 5-meter penalty as well. A little bit of drama there. More drama out there. It's a very hectic major right now. We've seen Viola Oberländer pull out. We've not seen Jade Skillen get into the sled pull at all, so I'm assuming she's out as well. Jana Levenstedt definitely in trouble. Everybody's left a while ago. She's still at the sled pull.
The sled pull penalty is a brutal one. It's so much time lost, unfortunately. Hopefully she can keep her head in the game and try to make up some ground in a smart way. She's still got time, so she doesn't need to rush it too hard, but at the same time, she is pretty far back, and unfortunately you can see kind of in her face that it's maybe giving her a bit of a mental toll.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, running is her strong point, if anything, so like she won't be that concerned about like not performing as well as some of the others on the sled pull, but it didn't feel like she was coming out that strongly on that run just then either, so I wonder if she's affected somehow.
And if you look at it, so we've seen 13 athletes still in the race, in the women's race here. Lauren Weeks 32 seconds ahead of Joanna Vittrick, but then it is only 50 seconds all the way down to 11th. And we've just seen with Linda Meyer how quickly you can move through the field if you got a good station, a good workout there. Is Lauren Weeks is heading into workout number 4. Is this going to be the magic moment for Kate Davey?
I certainly hope so.
Burpees happening. Very important one. You see every athlete got their judge, and you're allowed 2 steps, no more. We've seen athletes struggle with that in the later stages of the burpees when there's like that little extra step in just trying to get up.
And Lauren really has created a really big gap here. Joanna is just now coming into the station. Lauren will have a full length done, maybe even a little bit more before Joanna even gets to her lane. So she is really starting to pull away here. And this is a favorable station for Lauren. She tends to be very strong on the burpees.
Strong burpees, and this could be different things that we're seeing here right now. Obviously, racing in the U.S., for once the U.S. athletes have the advantage that they don't need to travel all that much. Lauren definitely didn't have to travel a lot
right.
to get here. But then another thing we might be seeing with Joanna Vittrick now is also just a change in training potentially. You know, not as much focus on the run, work on other weaknesses. And I don't think I personally wouldn't read too much into it because it's February. Is it February? It's February tomorrow. It's still
Yes,
January.
yes.
There you go. It's still January. And one thing is for sure, an athlete like Joanna, Lauren, you know, most athletes we're seeing out here, for them, it matters to perform in June.
Absolutely. And it's hard to peak 4 times and then a 5th time at Worlds in a season. It's just not really that possible. So it's totally fine and normal to have maybe a little bit of an off day or shifting training in a different direction and coming in maybe at 90% of your capacity. I think that's very normal and very common in these elite races.
All right, Lauren Weeks already on lane 3 of her burpees. Linda Meyer, Lucy Proctor chasing, but Jonna Wittrick, she is now in danger of getting caught by Lauren Griffith.
Yeah, and Linda Meyer is pretty close behind. She held a pretty strong run there, so she's coming in a good position to get one of those qualifying spots. All she really needs to do is maintain this position throughout the rest of the race, and she can get qualified. So that's really nice to see. She had a struggle in Hong Kong. She missed out on the first Amsterdam Major, so this is an important race for Linda.
Definitely, but I mean, if you look at the competition, Lucy Proctor, 1 burpee behind Sika Anning right there. They're doing synchronized burpees right now. And just to give you, we talked about the running, we talked about Jonna Wittrick, we talked about Lauren Weeks absolutely smashing it at the front. Jonna Wittrick lost almost 20 seconds on that last run.
That's a lot on a single run. That's quite a gap, considering running is certainly one of her strengths in this sport. So that is a lot to be losing every run.
Now we see Kate Davey sneakily making her move a few lanes down from these front runners. I'm not surprised to see this, if I'm honest.
Not at all. She's just gone past Sarah Pajani. Like, they were just facing each other, not gone past, but like just quick look there. Sarah Pajani, funny enough, I heard she's got a new nickname.
Yes.
She's now nicknamed Tamagotchi because she needs to be regularly fed to be happy. To the point, apparently, where Kate just carries snacks around to make sure she can feed Zara when needed.
That is actually amazing. I think
cool.
I need that as well. Can someone carry snacks for me?
I mean, like, I think you just need to throw a few tantrums, you know, low blood sugar, get a bit hangry, and people will very quickly adjust around you.
At one of the majors last season, Lauren Weeks had carried some gummies in her bra, and they fell out in my lane that I was doing burpees in. Not joking, really thought about picking one up. Really thought about it.
Just a quick gummy.
Just a quick stack. Now we're seeing Lauren Griffith making a move here on Joanna. They're almost tied coming out of the burpees here. So it'll be interesting to see how this next run plays out.
And also Lucy Proctor has now gone past Sika Anning and Linda Meyer, just about a burpee and a half ahead. By the time they're done, it'll be about 2 burpees. Now Jonna Wittrick chasing, as a reminder, 55 seconds was the gap going into the burpees. And we'll see once we got everybody out what it stands like now. Lauren Griffith, she was 13 seconds down on Jonna Wittrick. She's brought that down to about 5. And there goes Kate Davey.
There goes Kate Davey. There she goes. Now Lucy's out. Lucy has a little bit of a different burpee style where she drags the knee. That helps to keep the heart rate down. So hopefully she has a great run off of those burpees.
Oh, and we could just see it as Kate Davey was going out. She didn't grab a drink. She ran straight past Lauren Griffith, who was literally just holding on to the drink table there. So she left everything at the burpees. Kate Davey moving up another spot. Incredible burpees, but not a surprise.
Not a surprise, but that was incredibly quick because she pulled back a lot of spaces there. Just for people at home that aren't aware, so the top 4 that have left the burpees there have all qualified already for the World Championships in Chicago. They're the 4 in this race that have already got their qualifying spots. So another 3 ladies are going to get those today. So it's the 3 behind that are in contention at the moment. So Lucy's in a great position.
And it's a 4th and back. You know, it could be a heartbreaker for Linda Meyer again now with Kate Bevilacqua. We'll see. I mean, she does real well. She does real well at the wall balls, Linda Meyer, usually. So, gosh, it's going to be an exciting one for sure.
And we're seeing Lauren really create a big gap. She's got almost 2 minutes now, according to the screen, on Joanna on second place.
I'm going with the graphic is a little bit off there. I don't know if that's supposed to be 1:06. Yeah.
Either way, a minute gap at this point of the race is pretty hard to come back from.
Oh, absolutely.
And when the momentum, like we said, when the momentum's in your favor, it just keeps driving you forward. So I would expect that gap to increase as the race goes on.
Look at that. Kate Davey now going past Joanna Wittrich. Fair to say, this is definitely, I mean, travel or not travel, but this is not the Joanna we expected to see on the run. She doesn't really want to let Kate Davey go.
Yeah, as we said, Kate Davey, she likes to come from behind. She's a little sneaky like that.
I think she's been working on her wall balls as well, Kate Davey. She said she's really going to try and like push through some of the wall balls. Maybe like sometimes you obviously try and have to pace yourself a little bit on those wall balls. If you can't go unbroken, I think she's going to push herself really hard today, she's told me, because she's got that qualifying spot.
But look at that, just what we've seen here. Lauren Weeks literally turning into the grid zone, into the next workout, as Lucy Proctor has to go on another lap, despite sitting right there in 5th overall.
Yeah, and this is exactly what Lucy was hoping for. She's in 5th position, so technically if she finishes there, she would have the first qualifying spot, which is phenomenal for 21 years old. Rookie, first Elite 15 debut, so let's hope that she can pull that off.
Oh, Jana Lebenstedt. As we're seeing Lauren Weeks and then the duel, Joanna Wittrich and Kate Davey behind, Jana Lebenstedt is still not done with the burpees. At what point do you go and say, like, hey, Vegas, baby, there's shows, you know, I'll get a milkshake at Shake Shack. I'm gonna watch a magic show. This is not my day.
You know what? I think it's so honorable, and we all can probably understand what she's feeling right now. So finishing this race will be a huge win for her, going through what she went through on the sled pull. So.
All right, here we go with the chasers. Joanna Wittrich, Kate Davey going into the row. Greg, I'm going to throw it to you. Head to head, Kate Davey, Joanna Wittrich at the row. Is either going to be able to make a difference here?
Hard to say. I know Joanna's been working on her row quite a lot, actually. She's vastly improved in the time she's been in this sport. If you ask me in a race, out of the two of those, who would win it, I'd go with Joanna right now, I think, to be honest. Be interesting. Hopefully we'll be able to see the paces that they're going at, but I think Joanna would edge it over Kate here.
But look at that. That is a almost 400-meter gap on the row for Lauren Weeks. Talking about rowing, did you guys see that recently? New world record for the men on the 1K row erg, 2:38.
That is
1K.
That's disgusting.
That's just rude.
I can't actually even imagine doing that.
It's got to be one of those people who sat in the first row in school already.
This is still a really tight battle between 2nd, 3rd, and 4th and 5th are right there. So that's going to be an exciting play out the next few stations.
And it's an interesting one. So a lot of folks always say, oh, the row, you know, it's kind of a little bit of recovery for the legs and so on. It's not. That's what people underestimate. Rowing is a leg sport. You know, that's where the power is generated from.
Yeah, again, you're not making up a ton of ground on the row, so really viewing it as recovery, maybe giving back a few seconds so you can come off and run well. We just did a lot of heavy leg dominant stations before the row, so most of us are trying to conserve as much energy as possible here.
Are those the paces that you might expect, Megan? Like, you know, 203, 205 sort of pace per 500? Is that the sort of level you'd expect?
That's actually a little slower than what I would expect. I think most of the women are around that 200 here. So a little slower than what I would anticipate. Could be strategic, or also could be a sign that maybe we're feeling a little bit tired and we need a little more of a breather here right now.
And a beautiful picture we just seen there. We could see Lauren Weeks, Joanna Griffith, they're going same stroke rate, but then Kate Davey and Lauren Griffith next to them going a significantly lower stroke rate. And again, another thing about rowing, it's not about the stroke rate to get faster. It's about your comfortable stroke rate at the end of the day. But that is not really what makes the difference in the pace that you're going.
Right, and I think in this race, because of the nature of it, we tend to have a higher stroke rate because we want to make it a little bit more aerobic, a little bit less muscular. Like I said, we're trying to conserve as much energy in the legs as possible. We still have lunges and wall balls to go, so it can be really important to conserve energy anywhere that you can.
All right, Lauren Weeks out. She's got 380 meters on Joanna Vittrick and Kate Davey. Kate Davey not losing a lot of ground on Joanna Vittrick. That's going to be just a couple of seconds, and for sure, she's going to try to close that gap as quickly as possible on the run again. But then Lauren Griffith, Lucy Proctor, Linda Meyer, Kate Bevilacqua, and Zika Arning so close together. Lauren Griffith pulling away a little bit right now. But again, this is so hard to call. Again, Greg, take us through it. Like, if we look at the top, we're seeing a lot of qualified athletes. And we're seeing 3 athletes will go to the World Championship at this race here, take a qualification spot. So if everything, you know, keeps going the way it is, top 7 would be enough.
Yeah, top 7 would be enough, which is a change versus last season where it wouldn't roll down beyond the top 5. So this season, with that change, there's always going to be 3 spots. Makes the racing more exciting, I think, because there's always a race going on, no matter how far down the field. So yeah, at the moment, like Lucy, Linda, and Amy Bevilacqua are in those qualifying spots because that top 4 there have already got their space. But there's a real race on really behind them. You know, Sika, Camilla, Zara, they're all really very much in this race.
I mean, 5th to 8th place right now is about. Hold on, Sika's just catching up.
Yeah,
it's like 2 meters.
It's neck and neck. It's
Linda Meyer is making a little bit of a move there. So she managed to open the gap just a little bit on the other women. I cannot wait to talk to Linda Meyer after that race. I want to know what was going on at the sled push. Was it just not feeling right? Did the sled feel heavy? I want to know what happened there.
Yeah, sometimes when you travel, I think it takes a couple stations to kind of get in the groove. We're now seeing her performing kind of where I would expect her to normally perform, if not a little bit further up. But again, that travel plays a big role in how you feel and in your energy. In Europe, it's probably, 4 a.m., 5 a.m. right now? So tough to adjust to that in race with that time change.
Yeah. Are there any stations, like you work closely with Lucy, are there any stations you're worried about for her on here, like where she might lose time?
No, and in particular, we've been working on the wall balls because we know, and we've seen it happen many times, it can come down to the wall balls where positions are changing rapidly. So she's feeling really confident with that. So hopefully she can hang on. She did lose 2 positions on the row, but I'm not surprised by that. She does tend to pull back a lot on the roads. Again, the ergs are not her strongest. We've been working on that a lot, but running is a strong suit for her. So hopefully she can make it up right here.
And when we're talking about losing 2 spots, we're talking 3 athletes going out at 2:06
and it's
deficit.
What, 2 seconds? So
I mean,
it's not very much.
If we look at Lucy Proctor, Sika Arning, Kate Bevilacqua, if we say this is the scenario, 2 out of those 3 will take a World Championship slot, and the decision is at the wall balls. Who's got the best odds of taking the 2 spots?
Oh, I don't know if I want to answer that question. I know that wall balls are hard for Amy. She's actually reached out to me a few times asking for some tips on how to approach it. I know she's been working on it too, so it'll be interesting to see how much improvement she has there. She's getting much stronger on a lot of the stations that she initially struggled with, especially last season. So it will be an interesting thing to see how it comes down to the wire there. And sometimes it's just about who takes the least amount of breaks.
Very good point. We'll see how it happens, how it unfolds. As we're seeing Lauren Weeks there at the farmer's carry, and then the chasers behind with Jonna Vittrick, with Kate Davey. And then obviously the duel behind, a mere 20 seconds between 4th and 8th place.
Yes, this is exactly what I think we all were anticipating for this race, is how close it is getting. Earlier on in my career, there was always a little bit of a bigger gap between each position, but that's just showing the depth of the field, the improvement of the field, how close it's getting. It really is coming down to mere seconds, sometimes milliseconds, as we've also seen.
Well, it looks like somebody just offered Jana Lebenstedt tickets to the Barry Manilow show next door, so she is out of the race as well. Unfortunately, not her day. She tried until the burpees, but then just had to make the call. You know, you always risk it. I mean, you go all in and training for a race like this, but then you want to peak, but you gotta factor in the travel and everything, and you know, it's hard to combine it all and then bring it down all together for the day here.
Yeah, it can be really disheartening, and again, she got a pretty hefty penalty. The sled pull is a tough penalty. So sometimes you have to save the mental side and maybe just call it instead of maybe having to suffer through the race.
So I'm just going to ask the question, as we're seeing Lucy Proctor now on the run, catching up to Linda Meyer. You coach her up until this point here, and you are currently training one of your potentially fiercest competition for the coming years. At what point do you go, I'm like, okay, there's a couple of tricks I'm keeping for myself?
Honestly, as you know, even if we did the same training, we would get this different outcomes. So my hope is to be able to maybe help pass the torch on to people like Lucy, to Joanna, showing them the way for the next generation to really rise up in this sport. And it's really exciting for me to see some people so young. I wish when I was 21 that this sport existed.
Interesting to see Lucy just taking it a little bit easy, quick rest, maybe a drink before grabbing the kettlebells. Oh,
now we have
Lauren.
Linda making a move here. Amy very close behind. This is really going to come down to the last two stations, I think.
Oh, this is going to be a wild race for Chicago for the World Championship in June. Again, reminder to everybody out there, we've got 4 qualified athletes in the front, and then 3 athletes who can qualify.
Yeah. You asked a minute ago, like, who you might back at the wall balls. I think the experience that Linda's got in that situation, I think, would stand her in very good stead. She's had battles at the wall balls before. She's been through that. I think I would probably back her in that situation.
And Zeka Arning is now the one dropping a little bit of time there. She is losing time, valuable time, I want to say, that Gabe Bevilacqua needs for the wall balls to keep her behind. But again, right now we're talking 15 seconds between 4th and 8th here. And there's no doubt, the way it looks right now, we're gonna have heartbreak at the wall balls. There's one athlete who's raced fantastic and raced on the same level as the other women, but one of those athletes will not go to the World Championship the way we're seeing it right now.
Yeah, and this is incredibly close right here. So, okay, Lucy, we saw her put one down, but immediately picked it back up. She is leaning a little bit forward, kind of a signal that it's starting to get a little bit heavy. Seka as well.
Oh, that is just the fight right now.
Now we're seeing Camilla also kind of move up a little bit closer to Seka. Camilla is one of the stronger athletes in the field, so things like Farmer's Carry are particularly good stations for her. So she's still in contention, so is Zara. It's not over till it's over, right, boys?
Oh, absolutely. Have you tried those nose strips that are back in fashion right now? I feel like they've been around like 15 years ago, and suddenly they're celebrating the comeback.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see how certain things become more popular, then they get less popular again. I don't particularly wear them. However, they are supposed to help Maybe it's the secret sauce.
Hey, and even if it's just the secret sauce for your head, you know,
Absolutely.
fair enough. You got to try every little bit that might help you for your race. Let's take a look here. Done and done with the Farmer's Carry. Lauren Weeks, 152 ahead of Joanna Wittrich. Let's be fair. I mean, we kind of had a feeling that it'll be hard to beat Lauren Weeks in this race here, just to be real. But we expected a little more of a duel coming, especially from Joanna Wittrich, who is in serious danger not to come in second today.
Yeah, I think this is, again, Kate Davies just having a really phenomenal season, podiuming. She made it to Worlds last year at the Last Chance qualifier. So to see her then go from that to now consistently in podium contention at these major races really shows the kind of work that she's been putting in, clearly getting really serious about her training. She's a mom, she's one of the more middle-aged athletes, so it's really exciting again to see what some of these women are capable of, no matter the age.
We've got an age gap of 30 years, I believe, in the race here today.
Yeah, from Lucy at 21 to Amy at 51. You mentioned in Asia, I was just going to say, Kate Davey turned 40 recently as well, and so I think she's very much on track for an age group world record today, as she's gone into that 40 to 44 age group.
Lauren Weeks at the sandbag lunges. Oh, and there you see it. It's just like, you know, you try to fight as hard as possible. We'll see it with her as well. There we go. That little step in between, it does cost you a little bit of time, but it saves so much energy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of those little tips that some of us do. I tap my toe, just gives the tiny little bit of relief on the legs during these lunges. 100 meters at this point of the race is no joke.
How difficult is it for Lauren right now to torture herself, to really go to the limit, knowing there is nobody chasing me at all? I've done 2 lanes of sandbag lunges, and the competition ain't even in yet.
Yeah, it's certainly hard to really keep pushing the pedal to the metal at this point, but she seems to still be really moving really well, so I'm expecting a really good time from her today. We now have Joanna coming in.
Again, Kate Davey not really losing any time on her. That's just about the 5-second gap that we saw coming out of the Farmer's Carry between the two of them. But here come the chasers already. So Linda Meyer, Lauren Griffith, Kate Bevilacqua, Amy, sorry about that. Kate Davey is the one leading the charge right now. And then Lucy, she lost a little bit of time on that run right now.
Still in contention for a qualifying spot. She has a big gap on the next person, so she should be able to maintain it at this point with just one run. And hopefully, if she nails those wall balls, she can keep that gap between her and Seka.
Yeah, it looks like it's been a tough run for Seka Arning. Lucy lost a little bit on the other women in front of her, but she gained time on Seka Arning behind. And it might be that Seka's now losing a lot of time on Amy. We said it before, Amy not the strongest athletes at the wall balls, but she is doing what she needs to do right now to open that gap.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be important with how close that these athletes are. She might need to give herself a little bit of a buffer for the wall balls.
This is where some of these athletes start questioning how good are the other athletes around me at the wall balls. Like they'll know how good everyone is. Like, can this athlete go unbroken? Do I need to open up a gap on the next run? Like they'll be looking around a little bit more and seeing what's going on, I think.
I love Amy's like lunges style. It's almost like she's done ballet or something. You know, earlier in life, it's like a very controlled leg movement. You know, toes almost pointy.
Yeah.
she was a flying trapeze artist earlier in her life, so I don't know about ballet, but she was flying trapeze.
Ah, trapeze, there you go. Same. All right, Lauren Weeks is out. Sandbag lunges done. And the competition behind. Look at Kate Davey. She's right there with Linda Meyer. Amy is not backing down at all. And it looks like Lucy is making her move now. She is definitely getting a lot closer to Lauren Griffith, who seems to be the athlete in the top 7 here right now, who's potentially struggling the most.
It's obviously early days for Joanna in this sport, but with the World Championships being in Chicago, like the next time she's is on American soil, like she might be a little bit concerned in herself that, you know, has she travelled as well as she might have hoped? You know, has she managed the jet lag? Like, she'll be questioning that for Chicago. How could she better manage it?
Yeah, but you know, it's also going to be a different thing. I think we'll see a lot of athletes arrive in Chicago a lot earlier. Yeah. No doubt, really making sure. I think, you know, if you're traveling from overseas here to the race, you might be willing to risk it a little bit with the jet lag and not put too many days in. Because let's face it, it ain't cheap traveling to the US and staying in the US.
It certainly is not. Especially Vegas. I don't know. Have your coffees been $20? Because I was shocked by the prices here. Hopefully not so bad in Chicago.
We went to the ice hockey yesterday, 2 beer, $56.
Wow. Welcome to the US of A.
It's funny, I'm an old man. I remember the days when we traveled to the US and bought everything here because it was so cheap that you saved enough money to pay for the trip on top of it. And now you go to the US and I'm like, I'm gonna work overtime when I'm back in Europe.
Linda Meyer had made a really good move here on the lunges. She is out. Amy is now heading out. Kate Davey is now moving out. So Kate lost a little bit of spots there on the lunges. Let's see if she can pick it back up on the run.
And it was a really late but strong move from Linda Meyer. It's like literally in the last lane, she just went turbo, burned that nitro, and opened the gap. What a recovery. I'm still not getting over that sled push we've seen from her. Lucy Proctor now shoulder to shoulder with Lauren Griffith on the way out. And then Sika Anning, how much time is she gonna lose on the women in front of her? She's got about 3-4 lunges left, then she is out on the way as well. But she's got to dig real deep now, real deep on this run.
Yeah, this is a tough race right now for Vivian Tafudo and Zara Piergiani. I think we were hopeful that they could be closer to those qualification spots. Seem to be having a harder day today. Exciting to see Jess Petro in here again. Another time she got a roll down spot for a major. She's one of those up and coming athletes. I still think she's still figuring out where she stands, getting her feet wet, gaining more experience, but I really think she is someone to keep a close eye on going forward.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you, Sika Anning, if she puts out the same run now, she's going to go into the wall balls with about a minute down on Amy Bevilacqua. Is that still possible for her?
I don't think any of those women are putting the ball down at very many times, if any. I think when it's that close and you have that, you can taste that spot, I think it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to pass them.
If anybody's wondering what this spot is going to taste like out there, it's going to taste like iron in your mouth. Lauren Weeks, she is at the wall balls. Into the final station here. I'm very close to, you know, signing the paper saying, yep, she's going to take this one.
I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah.
This seems to be a little bit of a slower course, though. We know that Lauren is very capable of actually finishing somewhere in that maybe even high 57, 58 range, coming into the wall balls at 57 minutes. So that is a little bit telling about what is going on the course tonight. Could be that it's a 3-lapper. That does tend to play some role in the times.
Yeah, but it's a lot. I mean, we're talking, you know, somewhere in the vicinity of about 3 minutes that they're behind the expected times. We had the same with Linda Meyer. She was hoping to sit just around the 1 hour mark, which it's not going to be. It's going to be about 2-3 minutes slower. Lauren Weeks. What a beautiful story for her. 2 years ago, she was racing here pregnant. Now her daughter is back in, full of energy. I wonder where she gets that from.
Cannot imagine where. Yeah, so this will be close to see if Lauren can go sub an hour tonight. Coming in at 57 and change. Pretty hard to go faster than 3 minutes in wall balls at this point. Likely that she will go unbroken. Tends to be a thing she can do, especially with the crowd and the momentum going on. But not the fastest times from the elite women's field we're seeing tonight.
No, not at all. And I wonder how much, it'd be interesting to talk to them and see how much the sleds impacted them. It certainly didn't look like Lauren's sled pull was moving as quickly as we've seen it in the past. Even the sled push, there was a few pauses in there. Whereas, you know, I remember back in Vienna when she got a world record, it looked like she was like really flying through that sled push at the time.
She's already 60 wall balls in as Joanna Wittrich is now coming into the wall balls in second. 60 wall balls ahead of the competition. And then here we go, Linda Meyer is going to be in third.
Wow, this is a phenomenal performance for Linda, especially considering how the race kind of started for her. She has made up so much ground and is now in third position. This is, and now Amy in fourth position.
And Kate right
really
behind her as well. It's impressive to go, I mean, it was only the second workout stage, but to go from 14 into third, very close to second here. And now we're seeing it. I mean, this is one wall ball between Joanna and Linda. This is now about being clean. And we're seeing a bunch of no reps. Now, this is the counter. That is down. Oh, that is a tough one. The counter for Joanna Wittrich seems to be down right now. So the judges are going to shout the numbers to her now as we've got the final 2 wall balls for Lauren Weeks. Here we go, 100, and there she goes. Your winner of the majors here in Las Vegas 2025, Lauren Weeks. The hometown favorite takes the win in front of the full grandstands here at the exhibition center in Las Vegas.
Here comes Sika. She's around 30 seconds behind Lucy, so she's the one chasing the qualifying spots. There were 3 ladies not qualified already in there, so Sika's around 30 seconds behind Lucy at the moment.
And 30 is a fair amount. This is Lauren saying, can I get my daughter? I bet you. Here we go. I should be a mind reader.
I'm interested to see how far behind Linda is from Joanna. Of course, Joanna's counter was not working, so it's a little bit difficult to understand where they're at.
Joanna has done unbroken wall balls, I know, in the past. She often doesn't give up a huge amount of time on the wall ball, so if Linda does catch her, it'd be impressive here. But yeah, you're right, it could become very close.
Amy holding strong. I don't think she's put that ball down. She has improved. Yeah. Amazing to see. Amazing to see.
It looks like Lucy there's got around a 25 wall ball lead over Sika, who's chasing her now.
Yeah, she had 24 extra. She can count 24 on top there, so she's going into the final 5 wall balls now. Joanna's clearly still ahead of Linda Meyer. Oh, but the duel behind.
Oh, wow, it's pretty close, though.
Is really close.
Nice. And I think this is the type of performance that we are used to seeing from Linda. So this is an amazing day for her, and she just got her 100th and is now done. Amy shortly behind with 95.
So here we go, ladies, if you're still out here, can she do it? Amy Bevilacqua, 98 wall balls.
Lucy with 86, so she's coming into her last 10.
World Championships in Chicago, yes she can.
She will claim her spot, it looks like.
That's brilliant from Amy. That's really, really impressive.
Absolutely. Not surprised, though.
No, no. But that's a significant improvement on her wall balls.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, but it still looks like heartbreak for Sika Arning. She is about 5 wall balls behind Lauren Griffith. Lauren just had her break. This is really, I mean, I wonder if she's aware or not.
And Lucy is now done.
Lucy is next in. Then we're going to see Kate Davey, and I wonder if Sika Arning is aware that she's only 2 wall balls behind Lauren Griffith. This is going to be a mental game now. She's looking over. She is taking a break. She does not have the time for that break. I assume we might see Lauren take one more quick breather. She is going to bring it home. It is going to be heartbreak for Sika Arning. Kate Davey on the ground, leaving it out all out there.
Kate seems to be holding her foot, so I'm wondering if something maybe happened.
All right, Lauren Griffith is going to take this one here. She is going to be 7th across the line. Lauren Weeks takes the win. We've just seen her as Lauren Griffith is done. Joanna Vittrek in 2nd, Linda Meyer 3rd, Amy Bevilacqua in 4th, Lucy Proctor, Kate Davey, and Lauren Griffith across the line here at the major in Las Vegas.
You're right, Megan. It doesn't look like these are relatively quick times for what they're capable of. It looks like Lauren was 60 minutes and 31 seconds. And then Joanna was 1:02.53.
That seems to be a bit of a midfoot issue there for Kate Davey. Not a happy phase as Lauren is testing out the foot, what's happening there. You know, I loved Joanna Vittrek's reaction to her wall balls not being counted. There was no hesitation. There was no arguing with the ref. There was just going all in and, you know, getting the job done and leaving the counting to the referees.
Absolutely, and that's truly what you have to do at this level. You cannot let that stuff get in your head, or you're really risking a lot potentially and losing a position. So you really just have to keep going and not even think about it, not let it impact you.
And of course we want to watch all our other athletes cross the finish line here.
Looks like Camilla Massa is actually going to surpass Seka. Oh no.
Seka is
cooked.
I don't think I've seen an athlete on her butt in a long time in the major races.
No, that's a little concerning if I'm being honest. I hope that nothing is wrong. She seems to really be struggling right now.
We just saw her attempt a wall ball and then just stop halfway through the motion. And you can see it from here. She is absolutely pale. We can see it from the studio. You see her only from behind, but she is as white as a wall.
Oh no.
She is struggling with the final wall balls here. Another no rep. That is so costly. She just doesn't get the ball high enough anymore. As Sarah Perjani is now gone past as well, crossing the line in 9th. What a drama-filled race we've seen here today.
And this is exactly what happens at these Elite 15 major races. It is really a battle from start to finish. Nothing is secure. You're never really safe. You really have to leave it all out there from start to finish. Oh, this is so hard. Oh, we can see Seka's really struggling. It looks like she's really having a hard time even standing up and seeing.
I wonder if she is one of those athletes who goes the race without nutrition. If that might be the issue here.
It could be. Now we have Vivian finishing. She just needs 2 more.
This is some of the worst drama I've seen at the wall balls in a long time. And of course, as we're seeing that everybody, we're going to see the men's race next. I just quickly want to point that out. We're going to see our post show with Greg as Silke Arning is now done.
Oh my
Look
gosh,
at
she's
the
having
absolute limit.
Wow.
Oh, that is, to all the triathletes out there, I'm a triathlete at heart. This is what we call the Iron War. It brings back memories. We've seen those pictures crossing the finish line, literally crawling. This is, the body is empty,
Yes,
done and dusted.
absolutely. And this is a great indicator of how hard this race really is and how much exertion the body goes through during the race. Now we have Jess Petro finishing.
You know, the one thing I like about a scenario like that with Silke Arning, as heartbreaking as it is, she definitely does not have to wonder if she left it all out there or not.
An absolute fighter until the very end. Someone needs to get her some water and some nutrition right away.
Yep. Promise you a post show. We want to hear the analysis, and I believe Lauren, and we want to hear the interviews. So Lauren and Greg, I believe you're ready. Let's do this.
Greg, an emotional roller coaster from start to finish that one. Oh my gosh, before we delve into what Lauren Weeks has just achieved in her full circle moment, to see Silke Arning cross the finish line after, I mean, clearly getting to a point where she maybe thought she couldn't continue and getting across and closing out the race. What?
It shows that she's pushed herself to her absolute limit there, and because there is so much competition, because it is so close, she knew she had to dig deep, and it certainly looked like she did there. She was at her absolute limit. Yeah,
she absolutely was. And Lauren Weeks, the infamous, wonderful three-time world champion. I mean, only 3.5-ish years ago, she was running in Las Vegas, surrounded by her friends and family, 7 months pregnant with baby Lily. And now, as you can see on the finish line, she's sat there celebrating with her little girl as she wins the race. Not just wins, obliterates.
Yeah, she did from start to finish. It never looked in doubt today against like a strong field we've already talked about. We know Joanna Wettrick is coming in and is a real contender for the World Championship this year. So she beat her in Hong Kong. So it's going to be interesting to see how Lauren showed up today in her hometown. And yeah, from start to finish, she dominated. That very first run, she went out so fast. The gap was significant from like the first 100 meters. So yeah, very, very impressive.
Yeah. What was it about that you're going to take away from her performance?
I think it was the running. I think from the very start, like she went out seemingly hard, and just didn't let up. And even though like it didn't look like the sleds necessarily moved as well as they have in other races for her or things like that, it was just that the running was so hard from her. That's very impressive. Like, on one of those runs, she opened up 20 seconds on Joanna, who's a very, very strong runner. So for me, the running for her looks like a really, really strong place at the moment.
Let's take a little look at the full results from that race, because it's an exciting one and there are plenty of qualifiers amongst them. Lauren Weeks, you mentioned Joanna Wettrick, that's the 1 and 2. And we see that Linda Meyer, after all talking about her in the pre-show, she rounds out the podium. But of course, Lucy Proctor and Amy Balvalacqua taking those final 2 qualification spots. It was a pretty special race, I think in part because if you were to come to me earlier in the week and go, who do you think are going to take the spots to go to World Championships? I'm not sure I would have put my money on any of those names. And that's absolutely outrageous for me to say. But just because of what we've seen in previous majors, this is unbelievable. Let's go to Lucy Proctor on debut. What we spoke about her being a potential to be great, but to do that on the first try, much like Joanna Wettrick, great's probably an understatement.
Yeah, it was quite a statement. It's, I felt with Lucy, she is a rookie, but she's been under a lot of pressure in some ways for a few years in the UK because, you know, the events over there are huge.
and we've talked about Lucy and her potential in the sport for a long time, but she continues to show up and do the business. And then, like recently, a race in Marseille where she done a 1:01, one of the, I think it was the 11th fastest time ever from a lady. So she's performing well under pressure. So it's not a huge surprise to me.
Hi, Lily.
Can you say hi?
Hi.
How proud are you of your mummy? You have fun watching the race?
Yeah.
Are you going to interview your mummy right now?
Can I talk in? Oh,
Yeah,
thank
there
you
we
so
go.
much. You gonna hold it for me?
This
Thank
is
you.
perfect, Lauren. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin. What a full circle moment.
I'm I'm speechless. Thank you.
She's got that now.
So the second time we've been here for a Hyrox race, and last time much smaller than this, but she was in my belly, and this time I got to see her on every lap I did. So it was, full circle is just, one way to put it, but speechless.
I know you've only just moved back to Vegas, but your Hyrox journey began here at a local gym just 20 minutes away, and you were training at CrossFit at the time, and your coaches, I met them all this morning, the people you used to work with, and they basically told me that this new thing had just arrived and it involved running and you were going to be really good at it. Could you have imagined it would have led to the moments that you're experiencing on this journey?
No. So when it first came about, the sport was not what it is today. I was doing it for fun, and not that I don't do it for fun now, but we were chasing cities and just enjoying it, and the amount that it's exploded and blown up, it's our life now. This is our business, it's our livelihood. We've created a whole family beyond our family around it. Nothing I would have ever expected. But I saw your post. I saw that you were at. Can I say it? You were at Camp Rhino.
Yeah.
But I used to coach there. Yeah, when I lived there, and I was like, oh my God, Lauren's at my old stomping grounds.
No, they all speak of you so highly, and they're all going to be racing over the course of the weekend. But I am going to let you go and celebrate with your family who are all here watching, if Miss Lily is willing to give me back my microphone.
Oh, thank you. Can we give them back the microphone?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Huge congratulations. Go and celebrate. Bye, Lily.
Bye.
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 Super special moment, super special woman, quite frankly. But talking of super special women, we've got one right here, and Linda, you won't know this, but we spoke about you quite a lot in the pre-show, and I'm so glad to see you back on top and where you belong. Talk us through the journey it's been this season, because it's not really been what we've come to expect from your performances.
Yes, the first half of the season was kind of a nightmare for me because I was ill a lot of times and nearly the whole off-season injured. So it was very hard to get back into training because I started training for 2 to 3 weeks and then I get ill again and so on. And yeah, so I'm very happy today that that the results are coming back, and yeah.
It looked like you really made your move on the sled pull today, where you pulled back a lot of space. Did that feel particularly good for you?
Yeah. After the sled pull, I was a little bit struggling, but I was like, okay, I have nothing to lose, and it's still the second workout, and let's try to have some fun and try to focus on the other 6 stations that are coming. So there's nothing. I didn't lose after the sled push, and yeah, I think that worked out very good.
I think it was good is somewhat of an understatement, Linda. We're super excited to see you in Chicago. What's the work on between now and then?
Thank you. Have a good day.
Oh, okay, we'll see you.
I didn't understand the last question.
What are you working on between now and then? What's the focus?
Actually, I wanted to work a little bit more on my running because that's the part where I lost a little bit more, but also maybe on the sled push now. Yeah, just overall and getting back into training more and more, and that I still have got the sub 60 goal. So let's see if I can hit it this season.
It's coming. It's coming. It's so
I
great to see
hope
you back.
so.
Right, go and enjoy the moment. I'll steal that from you. I'll
Thank
take
you.
that one away. Congratulations.
Well done.
Go enjoy your moment. And now, 2 women who we were somewhat unexpected to see, but how exciting. Ladies, come on in. Don't be shy. Wow, 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 wow. Everyone come in here, come in here. Right. I don't want to make this a massive thing, but there is a 30-year age gap between you two.
We were just discussing that.
And between you two, you've both got your tickets to the World Championships.
Yes.
What do you think this proves about Hyrox as a whole and how it can be really adaptable for everyone? Coming to you, Amy, on that one, because it's so impressive.
Here I am. Because that's proof enough. I mean,
what keeps you coming back to continue training, to continue pushing yourself?
Just because it's in me. I've always done sports, and I figured I just keep going until I just go out with a bang. Every time I have a bad workout, I'm like, maybe I'm just on the decline now. And then I'm like, well, I'll come back tomorrow and see. So,
What have your kids said? Like, what's their opinion of everything that you're doing? Because it must be so incredible for them to watch their mum do this.
You would think so, and I think they're happy, but it's just not a big deal for them. I don't want to say that they don't care, but I posted a story. I said, anyone want to come? I've got a huge place. And they all came up with excuses not to come. And one of them said, well, why are you going to Vegas? So it's a little bit, they're in their own world, and I'm glad that, they are, because I wouldn't want them to, worry too much about me.
Well, you're phenomenal. We cannot wait to see you race. But they're not here. But I hope someone's here to give you some support tonight and have a bit of a celebration.
I have a wonderful big family, so a few days away is just fine by me.
Lucy, on debut. What?
I'm so happy. I think, I came here, like I said to you yesterday, with one goal. And, I backed myself, as I always do in the race. And, it's a totally different world racing against these amazing ladies. Obviously, I'm in awe of everyone, and it's an honor to be on that start line among everyone. It was such a close race today, back and forth. I mean, you couldn't have called it, I don't think. And everyone's, stepped it up a level, I think. So, it's amazing to be here. And I think I was saying earlier to my mum, whatever happens today, you win by being here. And, I definitely did that. But, I'm so happy and so proud of myself. And, to do it on debut, even though I know I've got so much time and I'm so aware of that and I like to keep myself grounded. Obviously, I'm going to celebrate this massively because, it's amazing and it's what I came for, so yeah.
Were you conscious of the other ladies who hadn't qualified around you and where they were in the race and going into the warbles, what you had to do and things like that?
I think so, yeah. I think first half of the race, I didn't think too much about it. I was just settle in, try and just stay with the front half. Like I said yesterday, I was well aware that I was probably going to come out the ski quite late, which I did. I think I was second last out the ski. But I just said to myself, when that happens, because I was pretty sure it was going to be a win, just keep my head cool. Just, try and sit on the back of a pack of girls in the first few runs, which is what I did. And then later on around the row, start taking stock and thinking, okay, where am I? Which position am I in? Can I afford to maybe take a little bit off and go into the warbles with hopefully enough energy to maybe go unbroken? And obviously not just completely blow up on the warbles. Or do I really need to dig in now and go and hunt down those spots? And I think it was a nice blend of the two. I was aware that I was in that third spot coming into the warbles, so I really couldn't let up. And I did break once, but I got what I came for, and it must have gone well for me.
Lucy, congratulations, an age group world champion and an opportunity to fight to be the Elite 15 world champion as well. Ladies, thank you so much. I'll take that from you.
Thank you.
Go relax, have your ice bath, do your things. Okay, Greg, so let's take a little look at who has qualified. Just a recap, Linda Meyer, Amy Belval-Aqua and Lucy Proctor. Couldn't have called it.
No. I mean, to be honest, it was such a strong field today. There's very little between any of them that any of them could have got it. But I don't think we'd have called Linda, Amy, and Lucy getting it. For various reasons. But very impressive from all of them, really.
Unbelievably impressive, and as impressive goes, we've still got the men's race to come, and the battles in that field are nothing short of spectacular. It's going to be incredible. Stay with us, there's a short break, but we will be right back.
Wanna freak it nasty, with my girls in the front and the boys in the backseat. I just wanna freak it nasty, with my girls in the front, girls in the front. Girls in the front.
No new year, new me. You're already the main character. You didn't stop before and you ain't stopping now because this ain't about anybody else. This is all about you. Unlock your main character energy at MyProtein.
Well, welcome back to the Elite 15, Major number 3, live from Las Vegas, and we're looking forward to the men's race, Greg. And whilst there's a lot of battles on field, there are a couple of notable omissions.
In the men's field, I mean, Alexander Ronchevich is the main one as the world champion. You know, he's already got his qualifying spot for Chicago, but yeah, he's not going to be racing here today. So it would have been nice to see him race against, you know, people like James Kelly, Hunter McIntyre, but he's probably the biggest name that's missing today.
Looking at that list as well, you'll notice Marcus Wallace, his debut out on track, and a late addition in Colin Stiefer, who jumped on a plane a mere 5 hours ago because of Sean Noble's really horrific last-minute injury to his ankle. So there are some interesting names, but amongst them at the top of that list, we are going to see the major winner from last time out in Hong Kong, James Kelly, also the second fastest man on record, going up against Hunter McIntyre, who is back, and the fastest man on record. How exciting is this head-to-head?
Yeah, really, really exciting. I'm expecting a great race between the two of them today. You know, Hunter didn't perform as we might have expected at the World Championships. I think he finished 5th in the end. James Kelly finished 3rd that day. Like, James is like really like a rising star, if you like, in the sport. And I think he's going into the race like, I think he really fancies he can beat Hunter. I think it's an important statement for him today. I think he's looking for. So yeah, I think we're expecting a great race.
When you're looking at those comparative strengths, it does appear that Hunter has a slight more dominance, but will maybe JK's regularity of racing aid him in certain areas?
Yeah, I mean, JK's certainly run a lot of races this year. He's got a lot of experience. He knows how to pace it. He knows he can push today because he's got his qualifying spot, whereas Hunter hasn't. Like that head-to-head shows, really, Hunter is very strong on the stations. It feels like it's the running where James has really improved lately, and especially in the rock zone, like coming out the stations, like we see with Lauren Weeks, actually, like coming in and out of the stations, he really does accelerate and picks up a lot of time against the other elite athletes. So they're not the same athlete necessarily. They do have different strengths and weaknesses. But overall, I think it's going to be very, very close between the two of them.
And of course, Hunter has a very tasty carrot in needing to qualify still for the Elite 15 World Championship race, and that has just a small amount of motivation.
yeah, motivation. But he won't want to do anything stupid. He won't necessarily want to get dragged into this race where he's like running faster than he wants to in the first few runs. But that said, he does also like to lead from the front, and he you know, when he's not been leading at something like the burpees historically, he's struggled for the rest of the race. So it's an interesting dynamic in that he doesn't want to push too hard and ruin his race and ruin his chances of qualifying. But at the same time, like that's how he races.
I feel like he's much a confidence racer. But what's been really interesting about his build-up into this race is there does appear to be a slightly more considered, introverted Hunter. He's done a little bit less media, he's maybe shouted a little bit less, and that's interesting to me because it makes me think he's approached this slightly differently, and maybe he learned some lessons from World Championships.
Yeah, I've had that feeling too. Like, this is the first time we've seen him race, you know, in the major this season, which isn't unusual necessarily for Hunter. Like, he doesn't have this long season. He tends to condense it. I think he has been a bit more understated coming into this than in other seasons, but my gut feel is he's quietly confident, and you don't always get that from a Hunter. But I think I think he feels he's in form. I don't think he'd be here if he didn't think he was in good shape. We've seen him race in Anaheim relatively recently and put in a good performance, but today I think he can do well.
The American men, the qualifying spots, 6 American men, 3 up for grabs. Hunter is of course one of them, but Ryan Kent, who is obviously an incredible athlete, has a huge history of catalogue of wins, including at one point North American Championships. But then there's also Rich Ryan, Dylan Scott, and Marcus Wallace Colasifa, but big names with big historical accolades, but only 3 places.
Yeah. And you never quite know what you're going to get from any of them, you know. Like on their day, they're incredible athletes. Like Dylan Scott, I think back to Washington DC last year when he won that race and he cruised to victory and he looked so good. Rich Ryan recently has put in one of the fastest times ever in a 54-minute, and then Ryan Kent, you know, has been around the sport for a long time, but it's been over a year since we saw the best of him. But again, we know on his day he's an incredible athlete, so we know they're very good and they want to do it on American soil as well.
Well, exactly that. They've got one opportunity at home to not be impacted by travel and all that comes with it. And in Ryan Kent's case, he's expecting a baby over the Glasgow Major. So this really is a one-shot saloon as our men are introduced to the crowd here in the Las Vegas Convention Center. But Greg, I do want to dive in a little bit on Rich Ryan, because he was someone who had to go chasing times and didn't quite have the capacity to do so for the races based in the US. But when he did get there and have that opportunity, he not only laid down a marker, he pushed himself up from being a roll-down athlete right into the thick of the pack.
Yeah, he put in a time. That time I mentioned, 54, something he did in Chicago, has really put him like well into the qualifying spots when he was really trying to chase the time. So it's put him in a great contention. So yeah, like I said, like we know he's capable of that. He doesn't always do it consistently, but on his day, very, very, very strong athlete.
As you just saw, Jake Dearden is back in action, and Geoffrey Voisin. But also I want to talk about John Wynn, because John Wynn comes in with a bit of a backstory in that he's struggled with alcoholism and he's gone through a huge amount personally, and turning up in Vegas, he predicted it to be a huge trigger. Regardless, he's here anyway. He's in great form, and he even went to a meeting, as he said on his Instagram, to make sure that he was kept on the straight. I don't know, for me it just sums up the type of man he is, as well as the athlete he has become.
Yeah, absolutely. Approaches it very sensibly. Very, you know, he doesn't. He's working on counselling in that sort of area as well. So yeah, he's very like he's got his head screwed on. He's a very sensible athlete, and he missed out on qualifying just by 5 seconds in Hong Kong. So he's really going to want to do this today.
I mean, when you're looking at those names being called out, there are only a couple who've already pre-qualified, which means this race is going to be taking place probably up the top of the course, depending how hard they push out the gate. But Hunter likes to push out the gate.
Yeah, but so do a lot of these guys. And like the 2 majors that we've seen so far this year, they go out fast. These guys, more like there's more of them go out fast in the men's field than in the women's field. But yeah, you're right. Hunter, JK can push it. You know, I think someone like Rich Ryan, who's a strong runner, I think he'll go out fast. Tim, who's got his spot already, will go out fast. It'll be exciting to see, I think.
And Dylan Scott, I don't know if you cast your mind back to Washington DC, but he was a different animal. And again with Dylan, we saw in Amsterdam, bless him, the poor lad can't go across the Atlantic.
No, he's another one that certainly hasn't travelled well historically, so he's going to want to do it on American soil. Yeah, you're right. Amsterdam, even at Nice in the World Championships, it was Washington last time we saw him in a major do particularly well and what he's capable of. So yeah, today's a big day for him.
But James Calley, he's learning what it means to have a target on his back, and that target, his name is Hunter McIntyre, and it's going to go down right now. You, mate, better get off the commentary. And luckily for us, we also have Megan Jacoby still with us. She joins the 3rd member of our team, Till Schenk, and boy, is there a little bit of fun to come. This one is going to be something special, folks. It really is do or die, not just for the Americans, but also for the European talent as well who's chosen to travel. But I'm going to hand over to your commentary team. because I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do this justice. Till Shank, Megan Jacoby, and now joining them, Greg Williams. Guys, take it away.
All right, here we go, another exciting race that we're expecting. And let's just quickly be, as we're waiting for the athletes here to get into the start tunnel, we're going to start in just a minute's time. A little bit of a surprise there. No Sean Noble, but Colin Stiefer in there. We're going to talk about that in a moment. We're going to talk about who's got the best shot here. Is the Sheriff going to dominate, or is somebody else going to make the move here today? There's very different opinions from what we heard asking around. A lot of folks right now are saying, hey, Hunter McIntyre, he's going to take the win. 79%.
Wow.
That's an interesting one. And then next one would be 8%. Dylan Scott. Many picked Jake Dearden as well. So it's going to be an interesting race here for sure. We're seeing Dylan Scott there right behind James Kelly. James Kelly, the one of the men, I'm telling you right now, we got to watch here today. And 30 seconds to go until this start. Pelayo, I think he's still like, former triathlete. He's like, he keeps the t-shirt on around all the all the heavy muscle guys here, Hunter. And so it's like, all right, he's still the endurance athlete. That shirt's going to come off not too long. Yannick Chapla, we're seeing there next to James Kelly. Then Tim Vanish, ready to race here as well. And Dylan Scott, he is one of the men I'm really excited to see race here today. Home soil, he always does real well. A lot better when he has to travel. We talked about traveling well and not so well. He's definitely a not so well traveler. But we're going to talk about all that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get ready to race here at the second major. Third major of the season, actually, in Las Vegas. First of the year 2025. The men are off. Elite 15, the major Las Vegas for the men has started. And what a race it's going to be. Excited to have Greg with me here again for all the numbers, analytics, and all the insight. And, of course, the world champion on the women's side, Megan Jacoby. Megan, great to have you back here. All right, Tim Vanish looking around is like, hey, hold on a second. Where's the competition? He's one of the men we're having on the radar here today. Some are saying he can beat Hunter McIntyre. A lot are saying James Kelly can beat Hunter McIntyre. What's your take?
Yeah, I ultimately think that will be the battle today. I do think there are some contenders that can be very close up there, but I think everybody's kind of looking to see Hunter versus JK, just with both of their recent accolades, Hunter being the veteran 3-time world champion, and James having a lot of recent success in the last half of the year in Nice and the first 2 majors of the season. So it's going to be an interesting battle between those two for sure.
Every time I see Tim Vanish race real good in the early season, I get real nervous for the rest of the season. He's missed out on 2 world championships already. Let's not make this 3. I hope he controls himself in training and racing, because he's on a really good path.
Yeah, I think that also is just an indicator of how hard the sport really is on the body, how long the season is. It's really hard to keep everything together from start to finish, but ultimately, the day that matters the most is that World Championship day.
It is that day. Tim Vanish, after opening on that first lap, now JK up there. Hunter McIntyre, of course, he's not letting go.
So now we haven't seen JK take the lead in the first run in one of the majors yet, I don't think. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. He tends to let somebody else lead and kind of sit right behind. So maybe he's testing out a new strategy today.
You got to love James Kelly. I mean, he is just living and breathing Hyrox. When he's not racing, he's at a race, he's asking if he can join either on the commentary team or sneak around and, be on the grid and see what's happening and everything. Always involved.
So we have a pretty big gap forming between the top 3 and then the rest of the field already on lap 1.
I think these two, like JK and Tim, they both got their qualifying spot already. If they're coming into this wanting to beat Hunter, I think you do have to take it like this from the start. Like they'd have seen the World Championships where Ronkovic and Michael Sandbach did the same to Hunter. Like he doesn't necessarily like being pushed. He wants to be leading from the ski onwards, So if you are going to meet Hunter, I think this is the approach you've got to take, to be honest. Easier said than done, though.
Very true, very true. And great to see in the picture just now, Johnny Wynn and Bo Wills really close together. The 2 boys who really used the last chance they had to qualify for the major here.
It looks like Tim and JK are talking to each other. Are they forming a strategy?
You know,
mid-race?
You just never know. It's like, hey, let's see what we can do, you know, to bring down the sheriff. You know, with Hunter, we were talking about those little nose clips, you know,
yeah,
that are
I
supposed to help
know.
you. With
And
him,
here we are.
I'm not sure if he uses it for its purpose or just because it makes him look even more retro than he does already.
He does seem to like to have an accessory. If we recall at Worlds, he had some pretty fun glasses in that Elite 15 relay. So
here we go, our top athletes at the ski erg. Dylan Scott is there. He lost a few meters, but he separated themselves from the group behind himself. Sitting there in 4th right now. So JK, Tim Vinish, Hunter McIntyre, Dylan Scott. That is our top 4 that we've just seen there. Are those numbers right?
Yeah.
Is JK really losing 7 seconds on the 500 right now?
this is what JK tends to do. He backs off the ski a little bit, lets the front guys go a little hard, and then he makes up for it on the run. I think that tends to be his strategy. Hunter is doing his normal thing where he goes pretty hard on the ski. That seems to be his way of racing.
I would say a 146 pace isn't slouching either.
No,
you know?
certainly not. Certainly not.
Most definitely not. Tim Vinish, interesting to see. Definitely a higher stroke rate than Hunter McIntyre next to him. So let's talk about the man in 7th right now, Colin Stiefer. So basically what happened is Sean Noble, I believe, went on a warm-up run yesterday. Something happened, and has anybody gotten confirmation or not? First guess is broken foot.
I think it's broken foot or ankle.
It looked terrible.
I don't think it was a warm-up run. I think it was burpees in his hotel room that did it.
I saw a photo. It looked so terrible. I literally had nightmares about it tonight. I dreamt that I had the same injury. That's how bad it looked. So he went out, quick call into Colin Stiefer, who lives 4 hours flight away from here in Tennessee, and he's like, absolutely, I'm on a plane tomorrow morning. Why not?
This is not Colin's first time getting that last-minute call-up. This seems to be his thing, pulled off the bench, and he's always ready to roll. And I actually talked to him before the race earlier today when he came to look at the course, and he said, you know what? The good thing about it is I don't have time to get nervous. So could be a great strategy for him in as far as racing goes.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's like you don't plan on that. You can't get nervous. There's no real expectations. It's very easy to tell yourself, to take the pressure off yourself.
Nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of everything to gain, Tim Vinish and Hunter McIntyre, they are both still head-to-head, and they are taking just a little bit of time out of James Kelly. And Dylan Scott is actually catching up to James Kelly now, so he's getting real close.
Not super surprising from Dylan. If you've ever seen some of his workouts, he does a lot of ski erg in pretty gross distances. Not an amount of time I would ever want to spend on a ski erg myself.
No. It's the next two stations that the important ones for Dylan. Like, can he get through these sleds in a good position? And
Yes,
if he
absolutely.
can, then it's game on.
And I think we can all agree, for everybody who has not watched the women's race, the sleds do not look particularly fast today.
Correct. They definitely look to be a little bit more challenging today, so it will be interesting to see how the men fare with them, if there is a difference or not. We have Hunter and Tim out together.
Oh, but did you just see that? I love that. With Dylan Scott and James Kelly going out, James Kelly just behind Dylan Scott, and he didn't waste a second to sneak through the inside, go to the front, and that's how confident he is, and I think for a good reason. Greg, if we look at James Kelly, he has trained like a madman.
Yeah. I mean, all these guys put the hours in, but certainly Dylan and James Kelly are putting in an awful lot of hours of training every week at the moment.
All right, Geoffrey Rosar and Johnny Wynn. The man from Australia who calls Mallorca his home.
So these top 4 are still very close together.
And there you have it down in the screen, everybody. Get the new Hyrox and Puma footwear today. This is the first time we brought out a combined edition Hyrox and Puma. Beautiful style. You see them on a lot of athletes. There are 3 different models depending on your style of race, and now available online or, of course, at your next Hyrox race.
I think we're seeing a lot of the men, especially some of these American men, really playing this front half of the race pretty smart, playing the long game, being a little conservative up front and hoping to make a move mid-race. Will be interesting to see how Rich, Kent, some of the hometown guys fare in this race. There's 6 American men, so home court advantage without that travel certainly helps.
There is no doubt, and you see a lot of folks traveling here who will participate in the coming days in doubles, in relays and so on from other sports. Some of you out there who enjoy, you know, fitness, CrossFit and so on. We've just spotted Matt Frazier down at the wall balls. He's getting ready to watch the action. He's going to be in action this weekend. Actually, we're going to see 3 out of the last 4 CrossFit winners race this weekend in the men's. So that's going to be an exciting one, because there's always been that discussion, right? Who's the better athlete, the Hyrox athlete or the CrossFit athletes?
Yeah, I think having a lot of the CrossFit names come in, these 4 guys, Tia Toomey, as well as many others over the last year and a half, it brings not just attention to the sport, but when you talk to those athletes, they love this race, and they all say how challenging it is. I think many of them underestimated how difficult it really was. And as someone who has dedicated a lot of time and energy into this sport, it's really nice to hear that from some of the best athletes truly in the world, especially in hybrid type sport.
And you know, while they're out there, Hunter McIntyre, Jason, right now, I want to send a special shout out to a special fella out there, Miles, the son of Marcus Wallace, who's racing his first major here today. He is a huge YouTube fan. And Miles, I know you're out there today, and this is your chance on your favorite channel on YouTube to watch your favorite man, your dad, race here today. Shout out to you, and we see Hunter McIntyre just celebrating with everybody out there.
Hyping up the crowd in true Hunter fashion. He definitely helps to make this race an exciting one.
It's just unimaginable, is it? Hunter without show is like, just doesn't exist.
Absolutely. And you know what? Every sport needs a character like that, truly.
Oh, truly.
I think as well, I think he does that when he's feeling good, right? Like I remember him last doing that at the Manchester World Championships in 2023, and he performed so well that day. Like I think if you're the early stages of this race, if you're not feeling that good, I don't think you're doing that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So really could be a sign that he is feeling it tonight.
Yeah.
What I don't like seeing is Tim Venus with a compression sock on again. We had that story of him traveling to a major race with a thrombosis in his leg, and that did not turn out well. So I hope this is just pure precaution. But Hunter McIntyre, he's had a bit of a whirlwind preparation for this race here as well. You know, he is one of the people affected by the wildfires in LA. He had to head somewhere else for training, you know, bunch up with a couple of friends and be evacuated for not too long, but a couple of days. Didn't seem to impact him too much.
So I don't know about you guys, but it looks like some of the men downfield are actually having an easier time on the sled push right now than some of the leaders. We have some people making some moves.
Well, Dylan Scott's going
Jake
for
Dearden
it.
making a big move right here.
Yeah, Hunter started this sled push very fast, but there's been a lot of pauses since then. Whereas, yeah, you're right. People like looks like Bo Wills down there is moving pretty well further down the field.
Dylan Scott, you just never know what's going to happen on the day. You just don't. He can blow everybody, you know, just out of the ballpark, or he might come in dead last.
Yes. It does seem to be that way. Definitely, though, it seems like the days he wins and he's feeling it, it is on American soil. So he's doing pretty well on this sled push, almost neck and neck with Hunter.
I think with Dylan, it's two things. He's one of the athletes not... Yes, say.
Who is that?
It's Harry Thompson coming
Wow,
out.
Harry Thompson making a huge move on the sled push, but we know that strength is a strength for him, so not super surprising. Ryan Kent making a huge move coming from downfield. This is exactly what I would hope for him.
Oh, a lot of movement happening there.
Wow, Tim Vienisch now coming out. Jake Dearden, Colin Stiefer.
Marcus Wallace.
And now, wow, JK is now just getting finished with sled push.
Wow, even Bud Wills caught almost back after him. Johnny Wynn is out. This sled push has really brought the athletes back together. Yannick Chaplet definitely not enjoying those first steps coming out of the sled push now. He's suffered a lot, pump in his face here. It looks like he's almost struggling to breathe a little bit. Which obviously is impossible, right? Because he's wearing the nose clip. I must be seeing this wrong.
He actually looks like he could be in pain, so it will be interesting to see. Hopefully nothing happened.
He did look very similar on the first run already, so either it's just his game
It
racing
could be
face.
his game face, yeah.
You just never know.
Okay, so Hunter seems to really be pulling away. This is the Hunter we are used to seeing. First run, second run, kind of starting to try and create a gap among the field.
But I love to see, like, just the stark contrast to what we've seen in the women's race at the sled push. It's rather, the women, it kind of exploded the field. He has brought the men back together.
Yes, it seems to have done that for sure.
There's been a lot of talk that today is going to be the day that JK is going to beat Hunter McIntyre.
Well, it's not over till it's over.
It's for sure not.
JK's running is really, really on point, so I would not count him out yet.
Oh, definitely not. Like, you know, let's just bring it back to that women's race for a second. We've seen Linda Meyer get out of the sled push in 14th and leave the sled pull in 4th.
Yes, exactly. However, what I will say is when Hunter starts to create a gap and he gets that momentum, he is very difficult to beat when he is leading from the front. That's his favorite way to race. Yeah. So when that's kind of in your favor, it's going to be hard to take him down.
Especially he's racing the home crowds here. And, you know, as a German, I think I'm allowed to say that. He is a hype man. He's a showman.
Yes, he certainly
And this
is.
works a lot better in the US. We Germans, we don't understand that. It's not in our mentality. You know, it's like at a race when I tell the crowds to go crazy. Well, all right. Crazy in Germany is a little different than it is in the US, without a doubt. So, and that gives him energy. He feeds off that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the crowd then gets excited, and I think it helps to build that excitement for the crowd. So then you just keep getting it back from them.
I will say the one thing is we're going to see this kind of scenario definitely once again in the next weeks, and we're going to see it in Europe. And that's when Alex Ronkovic, who's missing here today, is going to race in Vienna. You never see an outgoing, emotional, loud Austrian until Alex Ronkovic shows up for racing. And suddenly, they go wild.
Absolutely.
We've seen that last year in Vienna. We're going to see it this year again. But now, back to the racing here. Hunter McIntyre is in. Ladies and gentlemen, Dylan Scott coming now. He's also enjoying himself right now, yeah? Quick interaction with the folks there, asking where the chalk is. Dry hands important for the sled pull. Hunter McIntyre is on it already. And here we go in second. Now,
so
Dylan Scott.
As we're seeing, JK has definitely made up a lot of ground on that last run, coming in basically shoulder to shoulder with Tim.
The thing is, he made up ground on Tim. He made up ground on Harry, but I don't think he made up ground. No, he definitely did not on Hunter McIntyre. No. It's pretty much stayed exactly the same. So he was 27 down coming out off the sled push. Oh!
Hunter's been just put, it hadn't quite crossed the line there, so he got called back there. It's cost him a few seconds. Do you know what? I think Dylan actually clawed back some time anyway, even regardless of that little incident. I think Dylan, done a faster first length for that sled pull versus Hunter.
Ah, look at that. Synchronized pull in here. Hunter just about one pull ahead.
That's Harry Thompson in third. Like Megan said earlier, strength is one of his strong points, so we would expect him to be performing strongly at this stage of the race. And I remember back in Washington, D.C., he done something similar. It's whether he can cling on at the end. And it looks like his sled's got stuck.
Oh.
I think so, maybe the rope got tangled somehow there.
Yeah, it sure looks like it got tangled up a little bit with the sled next to it. And JK gone past Tim Venus now, and I really enjoy seeing Colin Stephen right now. You know, no preparation, got on a plane this morning, and there he is.
Yeah, absolutely. I really hope that this race goes really well for him today. He was planning on racing men's pro anyway, but again, with that last-minute call-up, that's a lot of stress on an athlete, so it would be wonderful to see him have a really, really good performance here today.
Tim Venus struggling a little bit at both the sled push and the sled pull. It's not too much of a surprise. We've seen this before, and I think it's fair to say it gets exponentially harder when the sled feels heavy like it does today. It is a bigger disadvantage for the ones that already don't feel that comfortable on the sled. Hunter McIntyre looks like he just managed to open that gap on Dylan just a little more again. Maybe by a sled, by a pull or two.
Dylan was just moving a little bit slower on that transition.
Now, Colin Stephen now caught back up to JK. He's really a good mover in the race right now. But again, 28 seconds, the gap between first and fifth gap into the sled pull.
Downfield, we have Rich Ryan also on his last lane. He made up some ground. JK just getting over to the sled pull. This is looking pretty hard for him right now.
Dylan Scott now out chasing Hunter McIntyre, so 1 and 2 back out onto the run.
Yeah, Tim seems to really be having a hard time on the sled pull right now. He's lost quite a bit of ground just starting his last length. I think the last athlete to get over on that last pull.
Here comes Rich Ryan.
Rich Ryan, here we go. Hyping up the crowds. He's on the way. There you go.
He's feeling good. That's not a normal
Johnny
Rich
Wynn,
Ryan
look at
move.
that. Johnny Wynn, the other big mover in the sled pull, he is out.
And now we've got Ryan Kent out as well. He made a lot of ground up there as well.
Oh, and both JK and Tim Venus drop in some serious positions here. Both have a spectacular run, there's no doubt. JK now out as well.
Absolutely. But they are going to have to do a lot of work to get caught back up here on this next run.
Look at that, though. There's only a minute separating the top 11 athletes there, so that's really close. There's a real race on.
Oh, and Yannick Chapla, he is having a rough day today. He's still got almost an entire lane. And I think it's fair to say, I think you might be right there, Meg. He seems to be in some kind of pain or something. He was well prepared for the race here, without a doubt. He felt really good coming over here. And he is definitely not performing the way he was hoping for, not even remotely close.
Wow, Jonathan Wynn really moved up. He's now in 4th position.
You know, and Johnny Wynn, I mean, like, you got to be happy for him if he has a great race here. He really put everything in to qualify. He was so close. I think 5 seconds away from qualifying in Hong Kong. Didn't work out, so he tried again and again. He got in, and if you just look at his story, you know, he is an addict. He's been sober for 4 years. He very openly talks about it. And then being here in Vegas and performing like that, that's got to be amazing for him, because he said the very first thing he did when he arrived in Las Vegas, precaution, AA meeting. That was the first thing. He went straight there, not because he felt like gambling or something, but he said, this is not a safe environment. And, you know, to be able to be here and perform in that environment, fantastic to see. Hope he continues having a good race here.
Truly an amazing person with a great story. Has 2 really young kids. So as someone who's a mother, I can only imagine how much that also adds to the stress of just being an athlete.
If you follow him on social media, everybody talks about the 5 a.m. club, how all the successful businessmen do the 5 a.m. club. Well, Johnny Wynn every morning is in his running shoes at 4:30, so he's the 4 a.m. club.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
He beats even the early birds.
I mean, it's only a few seconds, but he's gained a few seconds on Rich Ryan on this run as well. And like, Rich is a very, very strong runner, like traditionally a stronger runner than John on this. So John's obviously feeling pretty good at this point.
Yes, definitely. Definitely is. He's looking pretty strong, too.
Yeah, and if you look at it, Rich Ryan, Johnny Wynn, 3:08. You know, that's the times they posted here. That's 7 seconds faster than Hunter McIntyre. And that is a lot faster than the other guys behind. I mean, that's 22 seconds on Jake Dearden. Quite impressive. And Marcus Wallace, we've seen him there just a second ago on the screen as well. 7th overall at the moment. He is the rookie here today. So great race on his side so far as well.
So we've got Hunter coming in now, but Dylan is following very closely. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out of these burpees. Dylan looks to be really running really strong into this station right now.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know if you guys caught that while we were talking or not, but on the screen, as Johnny Wynn was going past Rich Ryan, that friendly interaction, quick fist bump and so on, great to see on the course. It looks like everybody's just having a ball here today. Folks celebrating with the spectators, Hunter McIntyre, Dylan Scott, everybody's just cheering them on. Camaraderie among the athletes on the track. It is a fantastic race here. And for everybody joining us just now, welcome to the men's race here at the Majors in Las Vegas. Hunter McIntyre in the lead, but Dylan Scott chasing hard.
So now we actually have Rich and Wynn coming in shoulder to shoulder, followed very closely by Pelayo and then the real big chase pack. So this is still a very, very tight race.
And JK, once again, spectacular run, making a real move here. Tim Vanish was not really able to match that run that we've seen from James Kelly. He's close enough, but still fairly far behind after that not so good, I want to say, to be friendly, sled pull that we've seen. Now time for the burpees.
Interested to watch Rich Ryan on these burpees. He put an incredibly fast burpee time in Chicago when he got his good time recently, but he's being watched very, very closely on these burpees by the judge. But he is moving through them quickly.
Yes, he certainly is. And I will say, as somebody who has also had this happen, that can really impact how you are performing on this particular station when someone's in your ear giving you advice or telling you watch your hands, watch your feet the entire time. I know it's tripped me up and slowed me down a lot, but he seems to still be moving pretty well through these. Again, he and Wynn are shoulder to shoulder at this point.
It looks like Dylan's just closing down Hunter here. Look, is he going to pass him?
Oh. I think Rich needs to be real careful right now. He's overstepping again and again and again. And so I'm going to ask you as an athlete, 2 steps at the burpees. What we're seeing from Rich Ryan, is it really just 2 steps? There is this very short kick at the back.
I'm going to be honest, it could be the shoes. Those shoes really roll a little bit forward, and he looks a little wobbly on the toes, so I'm wondering if that's pushing him forward a little bit too quick, and that's why he's having an issue maybe with his hand placement.
Dylan Scott, he jumped past Hunter McIntyre. It's a jump off between the 2 Americans right now. Well, we were wondering before we had an idea which version of Dylan Scott we were going to see, and now it's very clear which one we're seeing. Dylan Scott first out off the burpees. Hunter McIntyre right behind. That's the duel in the lead right now. And then they have a strong, strong lead. They had 34 seconds going into the burpees. Let's see what it looks like going out. It looks like Johnny Wynn is going to be the next one out.
Now, one thing to know as Hunter and Dylan are shoulder to shoulder. They are both very strong rowers. So I'm not sure that anything will change much if they stay shoulder to shoulder on this run. This could be a side-by-side race for quite a while.
Is John Wynn about to leave the burpees? And I think Palaio's clawed back some time there as well.
Oh, and Rich Ryan, he went off like a cannon, but now he's dropping some serious time. James Kelly out, Bo Wiltz, next one. Out, here comes Rich Ryan now as well.
Bo is one to watch. In the back half of the race, he rarely gets past. He performs really, really strongly. So he's in a good position at the moment because he's not always this high up at this point in the race. He's one of the few that can do unbroken wall balls, for example, in this field. So, yeah, I think it'd be encouraged to be in 6th at this point.
Absolutely, and again, as we've said, the momentum, if you feel it and you feel like you're having a good day and you're able to keep rolling and gain a person, that really helps propel you forward.
Yeah.
So that's a great position for him to be in this middle of the race.
Just a reminder for everyone as well, the people in this race that have got a qualifying spot already are James Kelly, Tim Venich and Palaio Menendez. So at the moment, this top 3, they've not got their spot. So Dylan Scott, Hunter McIntyre and John Wynn. If it stayed like this, they'd be claiming the 3 qualifying spots.
Just a beautiful shot. I really enjoyed that, seeing Dylan Scott and Hunter McIntyre run there. They're running even splits, and I mean this in the nice way as possible, but Hunter doesn't look like a runner. But he knows what he needs to do. He is incredibly efficient in what he does out there on that run.
Yes, he really is. He comes from a running background, but he loves that strength training, and I think in the early career days of Hyrox, you really needed that. The sleds were incredibly hard. They were way slower, really, really difficult to move. But that's just his body type. So,
real trouble for Yannick Chapla, who's just kneeling down after the burpees. He's absolutely at the limit. I think he really is struggling to breathe. He is struggling to get that oxygen in, get that CO2 out. Trouble for the next German after all the drama we've seen in the women's race already.
Sadly already.
The Germans are delivering the drama today. We had Viola Oberländer pull out of the race. We had Jana Lebenstedt pull out of the race. We had Zinka Arning completely at the wall balls to the point that the ball coming back just made her fall on her butt over and over again. Now in the men's race, Yannick Chapla definitely delivering the drama here.
That's hard travel for them, so I'm wondering if that's really playing a role in how they're particularly performing tonight.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, you know, funny enough, you look at Linda Meyer, who really performed here today.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
She took the trip through California. She basically did 2 days of vacation in California, took a road trip up to Vegas then, was hanging out at the traveling rings down at Santa Monica Pier the other day, and you're like, well, she's the one who's performing today.
Maybe that's part of her personal strategy. She needs a little hangout time, a little downtime to get ready to go.
You know, little California beach time never hurt nobody.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were saying it Greg, before, you know, if we got those boys, oh, actually Meg, you might have said that. I can't remember, but those 2 boys, very even on the road, not much happening.
Right.
You know, Dylan is just a little bit ahead of Hunter McIntyre, just going a tad faster. We're talking, depending on the pole, about a second, sometimes 2.
And when you look at Dylan's row form, he's a little bit more efficient than Hunter, has a nice forward lean, which could help, especially when we're trying to conserve as much energy as possible. So becoming more efficient on the ergs, it really does make a difference.
Yeah, what he does really beautiful is this loading up. The moment when he's in the front and the legs start coming, you see that the upper body is already loaded up to then basically spring back once he pulls the legs. So really good row. But then again, as you said before, he puts in disgusting distances on the road.
He certainly does. He certainly does.
Well, I mean, many folks out there say, you know, if you've got 10 minutes to spare in the day, the one workout you want to do is the row. It's going to, you know, have the biggest benefit out there. So a lot of strong believers in the row, even for sports like running and so on.
Absolutely. I think we mentioned it in the women's race, but the aerobic work, that's really where it is. And I think most of these elite men have really moved their training, if they weren't doing a ton of base building, into that this season. And you can really see it in some of their performances. JK being one of those athletes, really invested a lot of time into running and aerobic work. And it's clearly paid off. So Dylan is certainly not shy to doing a lot of hours of cardio.
You know, but interesting. I mean, Hunter's got some competition here. You know, it's and it's not just here. Alex Ronkovic is not racing, but on European soil, he's usually a threat. And you know, it's not the way it was a year or two ago. He's got to put in the work as well. He very clearly has done so. But as you said before, it's once he's in the lead, he's hard to track down.
Right.
But Dylan just did it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's always interesting to see then how an athlete responds to that mentally. When they kind of come out and they have a little bit of a lead, then they get caught. That's a difficult thing to overcome, and it's really in favor of the person catching.
So time penalty for Rich Ryan. 10 seconds extra on the row.
I'm wondering if he started the pull before his feet were in the straps.
So
it seems to be that
looks like we just got the confirmation. Pull before feet in. Well, that is part of the whole thing as well. You know, you got to be efficient at everything you do. And those are the things that you just want to do over and over and over again. You don't want to think about your feet. It just needs to happen. Dylan Scott is out. Hunter McIntyre is going to be real close behind him. He's done with the row as well. Johnny Wynn trying to fend off Pelayo Menendez and James Kelly, who are coming from behind. Rich Ryan right in the mix, but so is Bo Wills. And then Tim Venus. He is, to me right now, he's the biggest surprise in the race. I did not expect him to be in 9th coming into the row.
No, and it can be a result of what we talked about at the start. Because he's qualified, did he push too hard on that first run, for example, like more so than he would have done if he was just chasing a qualifying spot? Sometimes you just got to try these things, and like he's in the fortunate position where he can, but maybe it's backfired today.
The one thing I give Pelayo the biggest credit for is he's at the row and he's still got his t-shirt on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pelayo has really been a fun surprise in the men's field in the last year, placing so well at Worlds. I don't know that even he anticipated that. So it's really awesome to see. He's just a great person, and again, a big endurance background. So clearly that's coming into play in his success in Hyrox so far.
Bo Wills out as well. James Kelly right behind. Yes. We're seeing Rich Ryan taking a quick zip there as well. But how about Johnny Wynn? You know, he really struggled to qualify for this major. And there he is right now after the row, sitting in 3rd.
Yeah, he's been like, yeah, you're right. Even qualifying for the major, he's been pushing hard for this season to try and get that time just to be at this race. But when he is in these races, he does tend to show up. He's not like he disgraces himself by any means. And like you touched on earlier, he was only 5 seconds away from qualifying in Hong Kong. But yeah, even just getting into this race, he's had to race quite a few times and push really hard.
So Greg, just quickly take us through it again for the spectators. We've got qualified athletes in the race here. What's the scenario that we're seeing right now?
So 3 athletes qualify in every major this season. At the moment, in this race, Pelayo Menendez, James Kelly and Tim Venich have already claimed their qualifying spot. So as it stands, it would be Dylan Scott, Hunter McIntyre, and John Wynn, the top 3 that would claim their qualifying spots. Then the next man, chasing that spot is effectively Rich Ryan, because Pelayo and James Kelly in 4th and 5th have already got their place.
Rich is really looking good on this run right now. Doesn't look like he's hurting at all. Very, very efficient running for him from that perspective.
And it really is close there. If you look at them times, like John Wynn, 1:13 behind Dylan, but then it's not. What is it? Another 8 seconds to Rich. A second behind is Bo. 5 seconds more is Jake Dearden. It's very, very close between those guys.
But I love that shot right now. You were saying Rich Ryan looking so comfortable, looking so efficient and so on. And then you look at Bo Wills individually. You look at that running style. It's like, that can't be fast. That's just counterintuitive to everything that stands in any running efficiency book. And there he is, just matching the pace.
Yeah, this is exciting between these two right now, coming into Farmers Carry literally together.
And when we saw Hunter in Nice in the World Championships, he was struggling that day, but I remember he put the Farmers Carries down, didn't he, at 1 point or 2 points, I think.
But look at Hunter trying to make that move. He makes the move here. That is a statement.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say, do you think he's digging a little deeper than he usually would just to make that point right now?
Absolutely, because when you're talking about how this plays out, if you can get in someone's head, that can give you, again, a little bit of more momentum going forward. So
they're both literally got a facial expression like they got an out-of-body experience right now. If you're Dylan Scott right now, you gotta find a way to just counter that, just to go past it. Have that mental game, because let's face it, that is one of the things that's gonna happen in the future. It's gonna be more and more mental games out on the course already.
Absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see if Dylan waits, puts them down, and then overtakes on the run. I have a feeling that might be his move here.
Let's talk about it. So, mental game. From your perspective, you're right there in that sport. In general, where is the biggest opportunity for improvement? Is it the technique at the workouts? Is it the overall training? Is it mental, or is it nutrition? What's got the biggest skill to improve?
I definitely think it's mental and race execution, but running for sure. And if there's a limiter, I think, on the stations, on some of them, on how fast you can actually get. And so if you can keep improving the running, or you can really lock down your personal execution, I think that's where the gains can be made. We're talking about athletes, though, that are at their limits. They're reaching their personal highest ceiling all the time. So to get just that 1% more, every little thing matters. The race preparation, the nutrition, the hydration, it's all very, very, very important.
And I love it how you said, there's those physical limitations to how far you can get at a station. And I wonder where they're going to push that. Because if you look at it, not too long ago, science knew that humans are incapable of running a marathon faster than 2 hours and 3 minutes. Well, boo-boo, that has changed. People knew up until not too long ago, science knew, doctors knew, it is impossible for a human to swim the distance from Cuba to Florida, yet Diana Naya did it at the age of 64.
Right, incredible.
And it's just some of those incredible stories, and always from a point of view where science knew it's not possible, and then it happens.
Wow, this is incredibly close between these guys right now.
James Kelly, Bo Wills there, Pilar Menendez right behind, so close together. 42 minutes into the race here. Hunter McIntyre together with Dylan Scott in the lead, and then it's that duel. Look at that. James Kelly, Bo Wills, Pilar Menendez, Johnny Wynn, James Dearden within 7 seconds, and even Rich Ryan overall just, another 10 seconds behind Dearden.
Yeah, so that's Bo made a move there at the Farmers, so he's overtook John, he overtook Pelayo, so he's put himself into a qualifying position now.
And let's face it, Bo Wills, it'll be very hard to take time out of him in the stations that are still to come.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're Rich, for example, you've got to think you want to be doing that on the runs if you're going to overtake Bo.
Yeah, absolutely. Bo also has really strong wall balls. So again, with it being a couple seconds between about 5 or 6 of them, that's going to matter a lot.
And I just, you know, this is just, June is a long way to go. I know some athletes are still experimenting and everything, but I'm just pointing out, we're seeing Dylan Scott on U.S. soil. The World Championship this year is in Chicago.
Yeah, I think that's very favorable for Dylan this year. But again, he and Hunter are still shoulder to shoulder. They've been shoulder to shoulder for quite a while in this race now, so it's going to be really exciting to see what happens on the lunges here. I think they're running pretty evenly, so I think it's going to come down to maybe the wire at the wall balls. We've seen Hunter go unbroken on wall balls before. It hasn't been in a while, but he's capable. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Dylan making a little bit of a move. Hunter stopping for water for a quick second.
It's a race now, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
it's a race.
It certainly is. Dylan pulled away just a little bit there on that run coming into the lunges.
Ah, what an exciting race here at the Majors in Las Vegas. Dylan Scott first into the sandbag lunges, second last workout station. And the Sheriff, Hunter McIntyre, just a few seconds behind. Okay, quick, who's got the better sandbag lunges?
I'm going to go Dylan.
Have you seen some of the lunge workouts he posts? He does like 1,000 at a time. It's crazy. So I would really hope if he's putting himself through that he's the better athlete on the lunges.
He's actually very carefully watched right now by Matt Fraser, the CrossFit legend, standing right there watching Dylan Scott and Hunter McIntyre. You can see him just arguing there behind Hunter McIntyre now. Oh, Hunter McIntyre caught back again.
So they spoke about that in the briefing, didn't they? At that turnaround point, you just got to make sure that you're fully behind that line before you start the lunge.
Okay, this is getting really exciting right now. Dylan Scott, indeed, right now, showing the slightly stronger sandbag lunges. Going to the wall ball. I mean, Hunter McIntyre is a machine at the wall balls. There is no doubt. But do you see Dylan lose time on Hunter at the wall balls?
I think he's going to hammer this next run to create as much space as possible. And if Dylan's feeling it, Dylan also can perform really well at the wall balls, and we saw that happen this early in the season. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he goes unbroken today too, or close to it.
I don't think we've seen that before though from Dylan. So if he did it, I think that would be a first for him on the wall balls.
Oh, but look at that race behind. James Kelly, we're seeing Bo Wills there as well. Jake Dearden definitely not backing down either. Palau Menendez.
Jake Dearden has overtaken Bo Wills.
Yep. He's giving James Kelly a run for the money right now. If he can stay where he is, you know, he's there right now finding himself in a qualifying position for the World Championship. One thing is for sure, if you're somewhere, well, it's going to hurt for Scott and Hunter, Dylan Scott and Hunter McIntyre for sure. But if you're 3, 4, 5, 6 right now, it's going to be a serious pain train in the next 10 minutes.
This next run is going to really hurt.
Well, it's not 10 minutes anymore, let's face it, but yeah. All right, Dylan Scott is out. Hunter McIntyre is not. Dylan Scott looking around. He is, and that's gonna give him a push. He is gonna obliterate that run right now, no doubt. And I'm putting it out there right now. The gap is big enough. The gap is big enough. Hunter McIntyre will not be able to chase down Dylan Scott in this combined run in wall balls.
Yeah.
Now, Dylan's told me he's going to take his shoes off for these wall balls when he gets there because he's not sure they're stable enough for his wall. So he's going to take them off, but he has to carry them over the line.
He has to carry them over the line.
Apparently so, yeah.
Wow. That's a Dylan move, I would say.
yeah.
Let's face it, he's tall enough. He can afford it.
That's true. So we have Bo now kind of seemingly to be making a little bit of a move on Jake Dearden. They are going to be fighting this out along with Pelayo for that last qualifying spot. So this run is going to really matter.
Oh, 3-man, 1 spot. That's got to be a mental game as well. Pelayo is right there now with Dearden. Bo Wills again,
no.
good move.
Oh no,
Oh,
Jake
no.
dropped the bag. It hit the back of his shoe and his foot popped off. His foot popped off? His shoe popped off.
Something
But
popped
that-
off and, and then he had no shoes on.
But that did allow Bo to get a little bit more of a lead.
Oh, that could be very costly 4 seconds that he lost there.
Yes.
But look at Dylan Scott absolutely flying. He is feeling it right now. Bo Wills, he managed to open up that gap.
Dylan has really opened the gap up on Hunter right now.
Here we
Hunter
go. We
just
might see that.
turned
Here
the
we
corner.
go. Oh, literally, it really looks like he just dropped the back on the back of his shoe. Haven't seen that before. "24 seconds for Dylan Scott on Hunter McIntyre. Can Hunter strike back, yes or no?
I think Dylan's feeling it today.
I would back Dylan here, yeah.
All right, fair enough. The bets are coming in for our viewers out there. Drop it in the comments. What do you think? Dylan Scott, Hunter McIntyre, who's going to take it here today? One more workout to go. They're on the way to the wall balls. And I'm just going to take that opportunity as we're seeing Johnny win here, is still doing incredibly well in the race. We still got another major coming up. Glasgow is going to be the next one in March. Fantastic double weekend. We got Glasgow happening. We've got the spectacular race in Copenhagen happening on the same weekend. But of course, you're going to see the major from Glasgow. We're going to stream it live for you again. And then it's the last chance qualifier in Barcelona, where everybody's just going to come together.
Yes, that actually could turn out to be the most exciting race of the season. It's open to anybody who signs up for Men's Pro, so you just don't know who could be lurking in the shadows and waiting for their moment to show up, especially when you have nothing to lose. If you haven't been in this Elite 15 yet and you're kind of in contention or you're in that sub-elite field, could be a real game changer.
And there could be a couple of surprises. You know, let's see if he's going to be ready in time for April or not, but it's a long way to go. We've seen Franz Löschke, German former Ironman winner who raced Frankfurt. He literally decided, I want to do Hyrox, and gave himself 10 weeks to train. He didn't have a gym where he could do a real practice race, and after 10 weeks to train and raced a 1:01 in his pro debut.
Incredible, but not surprising. I think the triathletes come in and they really fare quite well right away, and it's more of a station issue, I think, that they just don't spend a lot of time working on them, but their running is absolutely phenomenal, so they certainly have the aerobic capacity going for them.
And look at that, Dylan Scott, the shoes have come off. He's at the wall balls. He was at the wall balls before our final 3 athletes even left the sandbag lunges. Here comes Hunter McIntyre in second, 32 seconds down. He lost another 8 seconds on that run. Half a minute behind Dylan Scott, who's got a 14 wall ball advantage.
Yeah, but if you look at Hunter's cadence, it's significantly faster than Dylan's right now. Only 14 wall balls ahead.
this still could be a crazy finish right now.
Absolutely, it all comes. He's got the faster pace, the faster cadence, no doubt, and then it's coming down to the big question: who needs to stop, who needs to rest, or doesn't?
Absolutely, and like Greg said, Dylan hasn't gone unbroken before, but we have seen Hunter go unbroken before.
So if they go unbroken, quick math, if you look at it right now, it looks that for every 6 wall balls, Hunter is making up 1. He is 12 down right now. He was 15 down coming into the station. Whew, this is, you do the math out there, but this is going to be a very close call, and it's also going to come down to the precision, especially in that second half of the wall balls.
Absolutely, and we saw that happen at Worlds where there were a lot of no reps and a lot of positions shifted really quick. It came really down to the wire between a couple reps because of not having perfect precision. So this could...
And there was that no rep for Dylan, and it's down to 9 between them now. Halfway through for Dylan Scott. What an exciting race for the win here in Las Vegas. And of course, behind Greg, the duel for the qualification.
This is that's quite a few reps that Hunter's clawed back there, considering neither of them are broken yet.
Absolutely.
That cadence is significantly quicker.
And another no rep for Dylan Scott. So now there's only 5 between them. Hunter McIntyre within 50, 60 wall balls. Made up 9 wall balls on Dylan Scott. Oh my word.
Oh wow.
What a finish this is going to be. Is Hunter McIntyre really able to claw back 32 seconds on Dylan Scott? And let's not forget, behind.
Oh. Okay, he's got to pick it up.
He's got to pick it up.
There he goes, perfect. Quick break.
You look there on the right there, that's Bo versus Jake Dearden for that 3rd qualifying spot, really. It looks like there's about 5 reps between the 2 of them at the moment.
Oh, and here is the break for Dylan Scott. The crowds are going absolutely ballistic. He needed that. Can Hunter push through now without breaking again?
No, he just put it down too.
Oh! This is it. I'm telling you right now, that is the win for Dylan Scott. Dylan, he can dig deep enough. He's going to be able to push that through. Come on. 10 to go after this one. This is just going to be in his head. He's got to do this. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. This is Hunter McIntyre surrendering.
There's Jake broken on the right there as well. That's good for Bo.
Yes, it is.
The Sheriffs run out of town by Dylan Scott. Oh, yeah.
Did he carry his shoes?
I don't think he did.
Uh-oh. So what is the rule there?
I don't know, because this is something we've never seen before. Oh, wow, he is hyped up.
He is definitely hyped up. Let's face it, he needed this one.
Yes, he did. So it looks like Bo is on 90, 10 reps to go. Safely in 3rd position for the 3rd qualifying spot.
Again, Bo qualified very last minute for this race here, and it looks like right now he might just take this opportunity and take this
Bo
3rd
is actually
qualification spot.
superseding JK now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Beautiful wall balls. Here we go, 100
wow,
Bo Wills.
Podium position as well, incredible.
What an incredible race for Bo Wills. But Dylan Scott, boy did he deliver.
Yeah. 50, I think it was 56.14, I think was the winning time as well. So a solid time on what doesn't appear to be a particularly quick course. Very impressive from him. Like we said earlier, he'll be encouraged that the World Championships are in Chicago because...
Yes, he certainly will.
James Kelly across the line now as well.
Jake Dearden across, Pelayo right behind him.
Well, just watching this, I'm telling you, this is going to be one exciting season or finisher of a season on the way to the World Championship. But looking at the results, Dylan Scott, 56-34, winning the race here, the major in Las Vegas. Hunter McIntyre, the Sheriff, in second, 23 seconds down. You know, so he caught back a little bit of time at the wall, but just not enough in the end. And then spectacular race for Bo Wills, James Kelly in fourth, Jake Dillon, Pilar Menendez-Fernandez, Johnny Wynn. Fantastic 7th place here today, and then Rich Ryan just across the line in 8th. Tim Vanish, not the race we expected from him.
No, certainly not, especially the way he came out of the tunnel. He was a man on a mission on that first run, so this was definitely a little bit surprising seeing that. It seemed like he felt really confident, but the sleds might have been the game changer for him today.
You know, fair enough. He's one of those athletes who have the time now to, you know, try things, to experiment a little bit, to try and just get ready for June, to be the best version possible in June.
Absolutely. Every race is an opportunity to learn something about yourself, either a hole in your game or how to execute something different, how to work on strategy. So if you're already qualified, these race opportunities, especially with the pressure and this type of field, can be a great opportunity to experiment a little bit mid-season.
You know, and I enjoy Yannick Chapla, right-hand corner of the screen there, even though he's just shaking his head. You know, kudos to him to finish this race and bring it at home, despite having a rough race the entire day. And as we watch them, Megan, thank you very much for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun. I don't want to do it all the time because I don't want to not be racing, but...
Fair enough. But whenever you're not racing, you're more than welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Into the studio. Greg is there already. Lauren is ready. Let's chat about the race.
Well, that was an incredible race. That is still going on, but I'm delighted to be joined by the 5-time fittest on earth, Matt Fraser, who has just enjoyed his very first Hyrox race as a spectator. What's your initial impressions?
I mean, it's incredible. So I actually watched a Hyrox race 5 or 6 years ago. Keith jumped in on one in Miami. So I was still competing, so I was just a spectator there. But no, this is my first time on the floor, in close. And I'm excited. O'Keefe and I are doing it as a pair tomorrow.
Honestly, when I saw that you put that on Instagram, like, I lit up. Mostly, A, because we get to see you back in action, but B, that you're doing it with such a long-time friend, manager, like, part of your organization. But how's it going to work? Who's calling the shots on the floor?
So since I've known O'Keefe, I met him in 2014. I'm in the worst shape of my life since then. I was still competing when I met him. And O'Keefe's on the tail end of marathon training. So I think I'm going to be trying to keep up with him on the runs, and then hopefully I can pull my weight on the machines and the stations.
Have you learned anything from what you just watched as to how to approach this?
Yes, very much. I'm very glad that we came over and just saw how they attack each implement, how they pace them. It's so much emphasis on the running, but it was great to see the burpee broad jumps. Like, okay, it's not jumping as far as you can. There's a bit of strategy to it, so I'm excited.
I would love to know, I appreciate it's just for fun, but the ambitions in the sport, do they exist?
Right now we are here for fun. We came down with we brought our whole team. Everyone's partnered up, so we're all jumping in. We're just here for a good time, but who knows what's going to come from it.
Okay, so there's going to be some hard work pays off bragging rights on the line is what you're telling me.
Oh, between team members, but we have some pretty stacked teams coming in, so O'Keefe and I got our work cut out for us.
Oh, Matt, I absolutely love it. If there's any main takeaway from what you've seen out there today, what's it going to be?
I mean, it's a whole different body style than what I'm used to. I came from 10 years of weightlifting, 10 years of CrossFit, and so I'm used to, a lot shorter, a lot more compact and thicker. So seeing these guys moving the way they did was very impressive. But, the pace that they're holding on the runs, I think somebody said they're holding like 5:25s on all the runs. So that's incredible.
I seem to remember you going away from the CrossFit Games one year to work specifically on your running and coming back and being a total badass at it. Were you at those kind of levels?
So that was sprinting. That was very, very short. No, I mean, like the hour time domain, I love that time domain, but I think I'm at a pretty big disadvantage. I've got about a 20-inch inseam, so I'm going to have fun. I'm here for smiles tomorrow.
Oh, we can't wait to watch you do it. Honestly, it's going to be really good fun. It's fun for everyone.
Can't wait.
And glad you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait for the next one.
I'll let you to go find your team. I'll steal that. I will bring in my ever favorite co-partner in crime. There you are, my dear. Greg, what is your main takeaway from that? That was...
Fantastic race. Well, it's hard to know where to start. Well, let's start first position. Dylan Scott, really showed up today. We talked in the pre-show about, can he perform on American soil, which we've seen him do in the past because he doesn't travel well. Today was going to be important for him, and he showed up. He had a race with one of the greatest athletes we've seen in this sport, and he beat him ultimately. Really impressive.
From what I was watching of that race, I was obviously very close to the athletes. You can see their faces, and Dylan put himself in a hole. It was like he was a man possessed. That was his from the start.
Yeah.
That kind of motivation is hard to come by. But this is what we were talking about, right? This is the one opportunity for those who don't travel well to get this done. And what kind of mental resolve does it show of Dylan to make sure that that box is ticked?
Yeah, I think he knew it was important, and I think he knew he had to dig deep. I think he knew he was being chased by a lot of very, very good guys today. He puts in a lot of hours into the training. There's no secret about that. So he digs deep in training day in, day out. He knows how to do it. You're right though. It's in contrast. The last really strong race we saw him in the major was in Washington and last year, and he cruised to victory that day. It looked like he had to dig a little bit deeper for that today, but he's beaten Hunter McIntyre, and you've got to dig deep if you're going to do that.
Well, exactly. All credit to Hunter McIntyre, who kept him on his toes the entire way. Will that be considered, for a man like Hunter, a good result? Will he feel proud of that? I mean, obviously you don't know his thoughts.
No.
But you can appreciate his will to win.
I think it was good enough at the end of the day. He knew he had to come here and get a qualifying spot, and so it was good enough. And I was thinking out of the row, he didn't at that point, though, they had a decent lead. He didn't have to really push too hard on the row. He didn't have to row as hard as he possibly could. So I think it was good enough for him.
Bo Wills, and I feel like, sorry Bo, we've brushed over you somewhat over the course of the season, but the moment that I saw him come anywhere near the top 5 in that second half of the race, I was like, man, he's got this. Yeah. He's got unbroken wall balls, and he only improves the further on you get, and he just ran his race to perfection.
Yeah, as he often does, to be fair. We often forget about him because he doesn't lead at the start, so he doesn't get a lot of mention on the live streams. And then suddenly he's in a really good position at the end of the race. So yeah, you're right. As soon as I think he was in 6th spot, maybe coming out the burpees today, then we knew it was really could be his race because he's so strong in the second half.
There was a lot of chopping and changing. I don't think I've ever seen a race where the back half of the field became the front half of the field, who then became the back half of the field again. In terms of excitement levels and people who perhaps didn't quite get their opportunity today, who kind of didn't live up to the expectations in your mind? There's a couple of real narrow misses.
Expectations-wise, I mean, I thought John Wynn might be a little bit closer at the end. I fancied him to get a qualifying spot today, and he wasn't quite there. I mean, he still performed reasonably well. James Kelly and Tim Bennett, who've previously got their qualifying spot, they weren't battling for the top 2 really. So maybe that was a surprise to a certain extent as well. Yeah.
But you know what? This is the time of year where those qualified athletes try things, and maybe what we saw was them trying stuff. Of course, JK had to work hard on that sled push. Yeah. There did seem to be a real separator of the field, perhaps one that we haven't seen so regularly over the last couple of majors.
Yeah, you're right. They've earned the right, if you like, to experiment and maybe push themselves, and maybe that played a part.
Mom? Check 1, 2, Mom, do you see me?
Not at the moment, because we were on a nice little bit of the actual race just finishing, but hey, Bolt Pony, how you doing?
Good. I gotta work on my freaking wall balls, dude.
Is that the main takeaway?
I felt like such a pussy. I was like, I got this in the bag. And then I started cramping. I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna miss a qualifier. So I just stopped, which was a pussy move. But great race. Honestly, I was like, we're out there, we're rocket ships. You can't really ask for much more. And then it was just I kept on pacing it on the back end with the lunges and the run. And I was like, I'm just gonna get them on the wall balls. And then, once that horse bites you in the leg, you're done. You get that Charlie horse, you're just like, nothing you can do.
We were just talking Obviously, you are who you are. You're an athlete, you want to win. You come into races with the expectation of taking a top spot, as you have done for many years. Is this still a success for you? You've got that cue, you're going to the World Champions.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I told myself I was going to have a slow start this year. Like, I'm not doing the stuff that I normally do that makes me a champion, and I'm not taking anything away from any of the other athletes, but I think what I did last year that disappointed me is I started that, like, mega hard prep in January, and I pushed all the way through, and I started late this season. Sorry.
It's okay.
I intentionally started late this season because I think the mistake I made last year, I'm not going to make it this year. And, like, you know, if much like what you guys saw back in 2021, I took a second place before I got back really where I wanted to be, and delayed gratification is a part of being an athlete. Like, you know, I remember looking back at, like, Michael Phelps. He would lose a lot of races and then go to the Olympics and dominate. And I think with the progression of this sport, you have to be smarter about your placement of your efforts. And Dylan did his day, and you can't take that away from him.
Talk about like your season and how you approach your season, but how about the race today? Are you approaching that any differently? Are you still going to go out as hard, for example, as you have done previously?
No, like I did everything slower today, but that's still being totally honest. I didn't have any more. That's why you saw me stop. But like, I know myself, like rocket ship mode, and I just didn't have that gear today, and like that's intentional. You can only play that guard every once in a while, and I want to make it where it counts. But I felt great. Like, you know, I just was like, okay, we're doing it. Everything's good. Like, I'm in the lead. I'm looking around. Oh, Dylan's here, but I know what I'm doing. But, you know, he executed. Like, that's really the fun part about this game now is like the person who has the right plan is maybe the person who wins, maybe not the fittest person.
Yeah. Well, dude, you got that cue. You're going to Chicago, but I think what all of our viewers would probably like to know is, are we going to see you at any more majors?
Oh, yeah. I go from here to Australia, I do Brisbane, then I do Glasgow, and then I'll do doubles to qualify in Miami.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I'm going to race a lot more this year.
Christ, super excited about that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great race.
Yeah.
Let you go and relax. Job is done.
Beer.
A
lot of beer. You know, I'm lucky my dad came out here. One of my coaches is here. A lot of my best friends are here. I think like a lot of people have to recognize that like it doesn't have to be this kind of like war mode. This war mode. It's one of these kind of things where I want it to be, you know, a fight and a party.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah, miss you, Mom.
Let me take that off you.
Okay.
You go and have a lovely day.
Okay.
Well done.
Peace, guys.
Take care.
Never a dull moment with Hunter McIntyre, is there? Dylan Scott. It was an absolute masterclass. Like, dug deeper than DC, but had all of the tropes of a spectacular performance. He is one of a kind, and he's right here.
What it do?
Dude. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, me neither.
Where did that come from? Last time we saw you, I don't even want to bring back the memories.
Nah, run it back.
15th, last place in Amsterdam.
Yep.
What happened? What changed?
Nothing. I just had a bad race in Amsterdam. Like, some days you have and some days you don't. I uncharacteristically felt good today. Like, as the day went on, I was like, man, I'm feeling better and better. And then I'm warming up and I'm watching my heart rate metrics and how they're responding to hard efforts and dropping back down during the warm-ups. I was like, I think we're good. So when they delayed a little bit of the start, I just laid on the floor. I was like, I don't think I need to warm up anymore. I think I'm fine. Like, and we're just gonna let this race crack off and go. So, yeah, I was this fit going into Amsterdam. Numbers said it. I was this fit going into Dallas. Numbers said it. And I just didn't put together a good race yet. And today I felt it. I was like, if I'm within 20 seconds leaving the sled pull, I'll go pull up the DMs. Then I said, if I'm within 20 seconds, a lot of people are in trouble. A lot of people were in trouble. 14 people, in fact.
Yeah, you did very well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Do you feel like we talked about Amsterdam, maybe Nice as well, do you feel like jet lag is a factor for you, and so you're encouraged by like Chicago being the world champs?
I feel like I'm a very like sleep sensitive person, and for some reason when I go travel like that, I'm up for like 24, 30 hours, and I got to figure out when the timeline is for me to make that travel to be okay. Because I just don't seem to bounce back from it well enough and seem to have any kind of response that my body needs to be like, okay, now we're ready to race. Oh, look at that guy. What a jerk.
I don't want to know what you're yelling, to be honest.
Well.
That looked like something we can't repeat.
You can. You say it in a different language. I think I only used one expletive this time, okay? Let me, I say that 15 seconds after a race, you just need to go ahead and be like, all right, we don't know what's coming, but it's something. But yeah. The jet lag definitely affects me. It's good that it's going to be in Chicago. I got out here on Wednesday, like 3-hour change. Going to east to west is a little better. Oh, man, I'm just happy to get this done. Yeah, just happy to get this done. Life's been heavy lately, so that's nice to pull this off. Yeah.
You can see how visibly emotional you are about this performance.
Yeah.
Did you not expect it from yourself?
I never expect anything from myself except for effort. And yeah, that's what we expect. I expect to come out here and race hard, and I don't know what I'm going to get. I just know that I'm going to give effort. And whether that's good for 15th place or that's good for first, I gave something. So I'm happy with it, yeah. I can rest easy and recover and get ready to go again Sunday.
Because Sunday you have a new partner
I do.
to race doubles.
I
Please
do.
tell me more about it.
Yeah, so I'm racing with Chandler Smith. Heck of a CrossFit athlete. Just was part of the team that won down in Wadapalooza. So me and Chandler kind of started talking probably 3-ish months ago. He was doubles partners with a guy who I was coaching, who was a former baseball player. They started racing together. I was supposed to come out here and race doubles with my boss. My boss was in Antarctica for like 3 months, for like 3 weeks in December, and he's like, brother, I'm not fit enough for this. Like, I said, okay, I'll get a partner. I put it out there, said, boom, anybody want to be doubles? 3 minutes, Chandler's in the DMs. I'm here, I'm down. I was like,
I'm sorry, all I'm taking away from this is Chandler Smith slipped into your DMs.
Yeah. Well, hey, we had already exchanged. He had my text message number, but he decided to go DM route. He was like, whoop, I'll do it. I was like, all right, you're like first one here, let's go. So, yeah, man, we're gonna throw down and see what happens. So I gotta get home after this. I'm gonna eat the rest of the bagels I bought this morning and lay down on my back.
I've seen you lay down on your back more than any other position this week.
Yeah,
it's obviously the tip to success.
I told you yesterday. We were all standing around and I was laying on the ground. You're like, you get down there. I said, look, if you can sit, don't stand. If you can lay, don't sit.
Secret of Champions, Dylan. We cannot wait to see you in Chicago.
Yeah.
Will you be coming to Glasgow?
I would like to. If life allows me, I'll be there.
All right.
Yeah, if life allows me, because man, this is fun.
Yeah, and we need more races like that.
Yeah, that was a good time, especially when I win.
Right, let me steal this from you.
Okay.
You go, relax, get your Whole Foods.
Well,
Congratulations. I mean, A, wonderful person. B, spectacular performance. C, Bo Wills. The wall balls is his secret ammo that is not very secret. And he's coming in right now, Bo Wills. Come on over. Here is a microphone for you, good sir. We were just talking about your wall balls. We know you always have them in the back pocket. How early in the race can you predict that you have the possibility of finishing up near the front, knowing that you have that skill?
Yeah, like, I know I'm usually in a pretty good spot when I'm middle to top half of the pack on the rower. So today that was the case, but everyone around me that was going for those spots as well, I know also are really good on the back few stations, like Jake and John Wynn and Rich Ryan. So like I knew it wasn't a given at all, and I was feeling it. Like coming into those wall balls, I'm often going unbroken these days, but like that one was, I always question myself, like it's not happening today, and I just, I didn't go unbroken today. I was just super relieved when Jake let it down around 40 or 50, I think, and yeah, I just suffered, dropped it a couple of short breaks, but made it just in time.
Made it, qualified.
Yeah.
How much weight comes off your shoulders knowing that ticket's there?
Yeah, a huge amount. Like this is the tickets are what we're all going for. So many of the guys rightfully believe they can get a spot, me included, but it's no guarantee. And like you have to have a good race. The field is so tight. You're like if you're going to qualify now, you have to have a good race for us that are often in the middle of the pack, and you have to have a good day for you and hope that it's enough. So.
It was enough today.
Yeah.
So you can go and have a little bit of a celebration?
Yeah. I'll probably go find some burgers and hit bed. Right now in Swiss time, it's like 6 a.m. in the morning, so
burgers seem key at that time, you know?
Yeah. Some milkshakes and burgers. I've got like a gallon of milk, as they say in in America, a gallon of chocolate milk waiting for me in my hotel room. So I'm looking forward to that. It's hard to eat, but chocolate milk always goes down well.
Party time. More tips and tricks from the elite. Well, I'll let you go and enjoy that. I'll take that. Massive congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Well done,
Can't
mate.
wait to see you rock your stuff at another one. Greg, some pretty spectacular races, and if we look at those results, well, we've qualified 3 more men for the World Championships, and they are the 3 on the podium, which actually I'm not sure we would have predicted at the top of today.
No, I don't think. No, I think, like, for example, we expected James Kelly to be right in the mix at the front of the pack there today. So I don't think we'd have predicted that the 3 qualifiers were the 3 podiums. But really impressive from all of them, to be fair.
For you eagle-eyed amongst you, Rich Ryan did finish. There was a slight error with his timing chip, which translates to our graphics. That will be, of course, updated online. Do not read into that. But I do feel a little bit for Rich. It felt like he had a bit of a difficult burpee section and he never quite recovered. And when you've got these gents who are so solid on the back end of the race, you have to be like in amongst it, if not ahead, once you get past the burpees in the row.
Yeah, he was looking strong up to the burpees. He's good on the burpees as well. He was like watched like a hawk by the judges, and it sounded like maybe they were like maybe he was pushing the limits of what was allowed on the movement standards and getting called back for there. And then he got a 10-second penalty in the row, and that affected his race. But he was well in it there many times during that race.
Your qualifiers are on screen now. 9 men, 9 women heading to the World Championships. And of course, that does mean, almost sadly for us, there's only one more major race left.
Yeah.
And we're heading to Glasgow.
Yeah. So another 3 qualifying spots up for grabs in Glasgow. It's going to be some great racing, maybe further down the pack. But there's a lot of people there that will be thinking that they've got a good chance of claiming one of those spots for sure.
And it is the hometown of Graham Halliday. Appreciate he's already qualified, so he doesn't need to worry about that, but what an occasion. He's ultimately Mr. Hyrox of that entire city, not even the city, of Scotland. And that group are going to be out in force. It's going to be quite the spectacle. Plus, it's kind of like our home race, right, in the major circuit.
Yeah.
Tell those who maybe aren't quite as familiar the atmosphere of going to a UK race, because it sets itself apart at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, Hyrox took hold in the UK like 3 years ago, and it's just grown and grown and grown and grown from there. The events are huge. I was in Manchester last weekend, and there's just thousands of people. There's so much excitement. They sell out time and time again, very, very quickly. Glasgow, like, the atmosphere is always incredible. Like you say,
and it's the first 5 days of racing, is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the biggest event ever. So like the elite race is going to be on the Wednesday night, and then there's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of age group racing, which is crazy, really. And they'll sell that out time and time again. So yeah, really exciting time.
So lots of exciting time in the future, but also quite a lot of exciting time over the next couple of days, where we've got lots of locals racing, and we also have lots of interesting combinations, including a relay of the hybrid engine team. Lauren Griffith, Lauren Weeks, Kate Davey and Zara Piergiani going for a world record. All of the highlights of that are going to be on our YouTube, so make sure you tune in across the weekend. And if you guys are watching this and you're going to be racing, good luck, enjoy it. It's a pretty special spectacle, and we're so excited to be bringing it here in Las Vegas. Greg, final thoughts?
Final thoughts, brilliant racing, more brilliant racing. We've seen some fantastic majors this year, and like the field is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and that's why we're seeing such good racing. So yeah, brilliant time in the sport.
I feel like we've hit the middle point, and our season feels like it's starting to come to an end, because we're starting to bring those spots together. But beautifully, we are beginning to see how World Championships is going to take shape, and that is ever so exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. From myself, from Greg Williams, from our superstar brand new co-commentator Megan Jacoby, and of course the wonderful Till Schenk. That is all from Las Vegas. That is all from us. Good night and goodbye. We will see you in Scotland.
Go say, big up the selector. Girl, them want move like projector. Showstopper, we stay proper. Girl, them want flex to them see say we dapper. Go say, big up the selector. Girl, them want move like projector. Trees blow, we don't if it say so. Bless, no stress, never know we change flows. Big up the selector. Showstopper, we stay proper. Girl, them want flex to them see say we dapper. Go say, big up the selector. Girl, them want move like projector. Trees blow, we don't if it say so. Bless no stress, never know we change flow.
Oh yeah.
No new year, new me. You're already the main character. You didn't stop before and you ain't stopping now because this ain't about anybody else. This is all about you. Unlock your main character energy at My Protein.